Oh, but he makes a good point.
Right? Like, nothing but good things happen when we go on adventures.
Goodness gracious me.
Nah, but I'm quite happy to fucking pass the puck out and get my luck back. But, you know, just putting it out there before I fucking update my character sheet.
Well, we were already all at the inn, so I'd assume we're all gonna have the long rest and then do shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The plan was to go for the Van Thumper after this long
Plus-
rest. I'm just saying, before we fucking start like wasting resources on going to Ribbons. Like...
No. The plan was to take a long rest and then go to Ribbon's place.
Oh, I
Yeah.
thought it was going to Van Thumper after the
Nah.
Oh no. Ribbons, and don't we still have, like, a tavern to look at, or did we do that already?
Oh, well, that was Harlequin, but he's pretty much been tied in close enough to the Van Thampers that he's probably not where he used to be.
Yeah.
That's fair.
Yeah, but the idea we had was to take out all the little dudes first before
Yeah.
going to the Van Thampers.
Yeah.
Right, but also last
Straight
time
up,
you
Ribbons
wound up
place
in
is
a...
just for loot. Like, that...
Yeah, but I was going to say, also last time you wound up in a position where, like, the cult is now actively sending
they're actively hunting
assassins
us
after you because they're aware of who you are.
Because
Yeah.
we are kind of a big deal now.
We also stand out like a sore thumb. We're not hard to find.
Some of us more than others.
Yeah.
I know, Ray. Fuck. Not even wrong.
It's those pointy
Slightly.
half-elf years.
And the constant stream of trying to make everyone so happy. Nobody will ever forget our group because Ray just makes the best day ever for them every time we meet somebody.
Except for that vendor.
Day ever, and then you steal the fucking hamster and run away.
Oh yeah, speaking of which, during our long rest, I do want to start training / communicating with Kilgore Stormageddon.
Of course.
Sweet.
I
Long rest. Get my shit back.
expected no other. I'm just making sure. I'm stalling for time until Cass tells me everything's ready.
Oh no, we can start.
Okay. I was also making a couple of tokens, so. Because I really should be better about doing this stuff ahead of time, but instead I was playing as Torox the Brass Bull.
Your fucking bull was off. Get in the game. Get ahead in the game, sir.
Fendrick.
I mean, none of us are time efficient, so don't feel bad about it.
I know, right?
That's fair.
God, how dare you do things like everyone else?
Just checking. 35-year-old. Oh god, I'm not gonna find a good picture for that, I don't think. Just like, what is this character's description? A fussy 35-year-old cook.
Any kids?
I think she's like a maid of some description.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, okay, so we left you at, what was the name of that place? The Three Old Kegs? Yeah, that's right. We left off with the group, getting room and board at the Three Old Kegs on the back of your, association with the Flaming Fist and the work you have been doing on behalf of the ducal power within the bounds of Baldur's Gate, which affords you the opportunity to take your long rest, regain your spell slots, your hit points, any of your resources that you might have expended during the day of having been ambushed and otherwise tormented by your fight with the Rat King. Because I think there was not a long rest between the Rat King and the ambush on your way into the...
There was
There was not. We were so tapped.
There was a short rest.
And Yeah, so that being the case... Yeah, so morning comes, right? Actually, I guess, like, you spend the night at the inn. Are you spending, like, a decent amount of the evening, like, in communion with your new hamster friend, Vert?
Yes.
Okay, go ahead and give me an animal handling check.
Oh Jesus! No, we're not
Well,
We're not starting the game off like that. We're gonna burn the inspiration.
I mean, I'll give you beautiful luck on that. Like, Jesus.
Okay, so you begin the slow process of training this miniature giant space hamster,
Do we get a
right?
montage?
Like, yeah, there's probably, like, I mean, what does this look like? How are you going about the business of, like, familiarizing yourself and training this little beast?
Well, he seems very food motivated.
Yeah, I was gonna say the first part of the training isn't actually gonna be like training like commands and stuff like that. It's gonna be basically contractual, right? So it's
Right.
hey, I will provide this for you, and in return you will provide this for me, and it's basically agreeing on terms, right?
Right.
You're not gonna run off. I'm not going to eat you when things get rough, kind of thing.
You are not emergency food. You are not Paimon.
Yes.
Ha!
Oh, don't rapport.
Nice. Yeah, you're building the basic, like, you're hand familiarizing.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it goes well for the most part, right? Like, I believe that Kilgore is well,
Courteous and receptive to courtesy.
Nope.
no. I was going to say, like, there is
Matt gets it.
there is an extent to which the original stock of giant space hamsters were bred by dwarves to be beasts of burden and also sources of meat and milk, rather than using, like, cattle or the like.
Mhm.
But every now and again, like, one of them just comes out wrong, right? Because they're magic bred animals, and they just have the bloodthirst and the desire to chew through anything that gets in their way, right?
They're
So
bread animals?
yes, they're bred specifically.
They're made of bread?
No. They are breeding. Anyway.
It will, Bo. I will make a grudge book for this
Good.
hamster.
Kids. Raised by a dwarf, it's got to, like, carry on their legacy.
Yeah, they are. So it's got that violent streak, right? Where you start out trying to, like, make the contractual obligation, and it just, like, bites at you and snaps at you, and, like, eventually you kind of get it on board, but it's going to take a little bit more time, a bit more work. But you've got yourself a good start. I think perhaps part of the problem, though, is that, like, as you're laying down to sleep, like, you realize that you've been distracted this whole time because you're so itchy. You're very, very itchy.
Why am I so itchy?
Oh,
Yes.
So morning comes. You all awaken to the smell of breakfast sausage and the like.
And rotten vet.
Another day in Baldur's Gate, and
forgot about that.
unfortunately for you, Vert, your time is up. You awaken to a fever and boils and slow and like seeping lesions on your arms and on your legs, spreading across your body because of the infection that you received in the sewer yesterday.
This is fine. I'm fine.
Oh, God.
And I will
So
get up out
funny.
of bed and just immediately faceplant on the floor, where I will remain for the next indeterminate amount of time until someone finds me.
Yes, please make me a DC 11 Constitution saving throw.
Hey!
I don't know.
Fuck yeah!
Ooh.
Okay.
Fuck
Well,
yeah.
you do not lose any additional strength or constitution today, but
Does Vert
please,
sleep with us? Like, are the boys
yeah,
all,
I guess where were you sleeping?
Is he normally fucking Batman's on the roof?
I am normally on the roof, but I have a new pet hamster, so I have to keep him
That's
enclosed. So I'm in a
That's a good
room.
point. So we'd
Right.
probably all like have a room.
Yeah, so you probably hear the thud coming
Yeah.
from Vert's room. Yeah, so as the disease has reached maturity, please reduce your strength and constitution temporarily by 1 each, but because you have made the constitution saving throw today, it does not get any worse than that.
You said strength and con?
Strength and constitution each by 1.
Okay. I'm just going to add global modifiers.
Yeah, I mean, just like make a note of it or whatever. You are a little bit weaker today, and you are feeling feverish, and you have, like I said, kind of like pussy, weeping boils like spreading across your skin, where the vomitous like discharge from the plague rats that you fought in the sewer got all over you.
Actually, both of those do nothing for me because I have an 11 strength and a 15 con.
I mean, that's fair. It's still not great. Like if
No,
this
it's not great.
If this isn't cured eventually, it could kill you. So, yeah, like the rest of you awaken. Like Rhea's been up for like hours. Like she was up with the sunrise, probably like out in the kind of like little courtyard beer garden area in front of the 3 old kegs, like doing sword drills in her arming coat. The rest of you are probably awakened by the smell of fresh bread and bacon and
rotten Vert. Swear to God, I heard him fall over this morning. Ray, go check on him, man. Like, Jesus.
I'm just
Listen,
sorting out-
everybody knows Ray. Everybody knows Ray doesn't wake up until like 12:30 minimum.
I know. I was hitting it hard last night gambling though, so I'm fucking with him.
Sorry, I was sorting out Rhea's character sheet and giving her health back and stuff.
Sure. So yeah, what are you doing this morning, Lucina? New day?
I'm going through my spells right now. So.
Fair enough.
He is praying to Kellenvor.
Yep, I am saying my prayers and getting ready for the day.
All right. So yeah, you're doing your devotionals and I'll leave it at that while you're busy like figuring out what you want to have prepared today. But definitely at some point during your prayers, you hear like the thud coming from the direction of Vert's room as he gets up, takes a couple of steps, and then just falls face first onto the floor of his room.
Yeah, I'll go check on him.
I'm guessing it would as well because she's an early riser
Yeah, likely.
and usually sort of hyper aware to weird noises.
Sure. So, those of you that go to check on your friend, I don't know. Did you lock your door, Vert? Like,
Please, it's locked and trapped.
of course it is.
Alright, sweet. As I hear more people fucking getting up to like go and check, I'll go, fuck, I better put on a show. Make sure I'm looking concerned and shit. So I'll go and open his door.
Oh God.
Okay, so what kind of trap do you think Vert set on his door?
A rope trap, a noose, like a step on it, you get pulled up to the ceiling, hang by your ankles thing.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure.
I'm just checking. I'm just unlocking the door and walking around and go, what the fuck's wrong with you, man? Jesus.
Right. Okay. So give me a thieves' tools check there, Bosing Ball. Let's see if you can get his door open. Yeah. All right. It is. It
Hey,
is
what's
not.
going on here?
It's not a difficult. Yeah. So like, Lucina, Siani, you're standing there in the hallway. Bo comes out, like making a show of it. Like unlocks the door, opens it. You all see Vert laying face down, like on the floor, and Bo Singba like goes to step forward, puts his foot in a noose, and just whoop like up to the ceiling.
She's
Ray's
gonna
gonna-
look up and just sort of like, should have seen that coming.
10 seconds earlier.
I know.
And I will
Ray's
step
actually,
aside.
Let's just say
Sorry.
Ray's actually still awake the whole time. He just doesn't want people to think he's sleeping. He's sitting there looking at that little locket in his pocket, and then all he hears is a fucking thud. Ah! What? Smash! And he's just gonna look. He's gonna put the locket away, and just curl up and just go a little longer.
5 more minutes.
What were you saying, hun?
I'm going to just step around Bo and go and check on Beard.
Oh god, something smells rancid in here. Did he leave foot in front of Kilgore?
Sanity will step around, but can she use her fucking demon tail to slash the rope as she goes past?
Oh my god.
Yeah, give me an attack roll.
Roll a 1.
Yeah, okay,
Hey,
you-
that's the best roll you've ever had with that.
I know.
You just give it like the little kind of like, you know, hips don't lie motion, and the tail like just whoosh, and hits the rope, and Bosing Ba, you fall
Full
like
on face plant.
just boom.
I mean, your arms are free. You can catch yourself.
Right. Do you know what I'll do? Alright, cool. I'll catch myself. Those guys are like, I'll see what they say. I was hoping for a full on face plant, like fucking
Yeah,
head
you-
fucking the floor.
You land, you handspring like back up onto your feet, do the fucking
Like,
A
like
proper-
full on gymnast fucking spinning.
proper
like, hands in the air.
Olympics like stick the landing.
Safe.
Listen, and just from the floor you hear,
If there's one thing that Sayane does, it is that Bo's size belies how fucking spry he actually is.
Aye.
Right?
Right, yeah.
She is confident he can take care of himself. Except when he's not paying attention.
Right.
Which
But
is
yes,
always-
for what it's worth, Lucina, as you approach, Vert is laying on the ground. He is, as I've said, he's got these kind of like weeping sores that are like opening on his exposed skin here and there. Like if you touch him, he feels feverish. Like he's definitely contracted some sort of illness that is very unpleasant to be around.
As soon as I notice that, I run out of the room gagging like.
Oh dear.
Yeah, that's me. I'm out. I'm in the back.
I hear the sound of Bo running, and I just sort of roll out of bed, and I've just got my jammies on. I was like, ah, breakfast. I just sort of wander down past him.
Yeah, you're heading
I bolted for it at the back, man. I'm going to the beer garden just to get some fresh air and like. vomit
you're
and
heading
stuff in there.
towards the stairs down. Like Bosingba has gone running down the stairs, and like coming the other direction up the steps is like the woman that you all met last night, who like signed you in and was like bringing you drinks, and she's just like, oh, what's all the noise going on up here?
And I just like jump over her and fucking go right back.
She just kind of like turns and watches as Bo runs away, and then she kind of looks at you, Ray, and she's just like, explanations, anyone?
Ah, he's just really happy to be here. So happy he felt like he was gonna throw up.
Sayane's gonna kneel down with Lucina. It's the only thing that would make sense in her head. She's just gonna say, we've been through a lot of nasty stuff in the sewers lately.
She's like, yeah,
I would have been more surprised if one of us didn't get sick.
I just heard a bunch of thudding and what, and I'm just making sure you're not breaking the furniture.
Can I tell what exactly he has contracted?
And should I roll medicine?
I figure if you're helping her, that counts. Like Lucina's 15.
We have the
there.
same score in medicine,
Yeah.
so.
So with a 15, it does appear that Vert has contracted devil rat fever, which
So
is
appropriate, it's almost fucking ironic.
yeah, which is a debilitating disease that causes fever, bleeding lesions, headaches. Like if it progresses far enough, it causes like hallucinations. It debilitates the body by reducing both your physical strength and your natural immunity. If left unchecked, he will eventually waste away to nothing and perish.
Just throw some mud on it, I'll be fine.
Do I know how to cure it?
I have an herbalism kit.
Well, let's
Just
see.
throw some mud on it, I'll be fine.
You need a bit more than mud, I think.
Well,
Lucina,
Yes, Spirit.
the mud.
I will flick the side of his head.
So
Before
yeah,
I go, tell everyone, fuck off.
as far as curing it goes, there are two options for you that spring to mind. You could take some time, a couple of days perhaps, with careful monitoring and bed rest. Ice packs on the forehead, chicken soup, bandages for the lesions, and the like. You should be able to nurse him back to like relatively full health with a series of medicine checks, as long as you're taking very good care of him. If you need a more immediate solution, you're fairly certain that a lesser restoration spell would be quite capable of handling this in short order.
Alright, I do not have it prepared today, but I can prepare it tomorrow morning and cure him.
Neither do I, but we could also contact a healer.
This is true.
We've got the black card. Let's go and
We
fucking
could
tell
talk
it.
to the Flaming Fist. We could
Yeah.
talk to the Duke.
Yeah. And Vert is just going to keep asking for the mud, apparently.
Oh, and my bell. I need my bell.
I will
Oh,
get him
that-
his bell, but he's not
Yes.
getting mud.
No mud.
I will continue to ring the bell and ask for mud.
I just imagine that you're like half hanging on, like half hugging the bell, half ringing it. Just like mad.
The only mud I'm going to get is to stick
Mud.
on the inside of that bell to stop the clapper.
Clang, clang, mud, clang. Yeah.
Listen,
no.
mud heals everything, okay? In my experience.
You
If
keep
Rhea
saying
ever asks me
this.
what's happening up there, I'm just going
Yeah.
to asking for her.
No, I imagine that when you came outside into the beer garden to like throw up in the bush or whatever, like Rhea like very like turned around when the door like burst open and like pointed like the wooden like training sword she's found somewhere at you, like she was very surprised, and then just watches you hork in the shrubs, and it's just like
Hork.
you drink too
Oh,
much,
fucking-
Bo?
World. I'll be like, no, I've not drank enough this morning. Two things. One, get me a drink and come back and I'll tell you the second.
Right, and she like puffs her cheeks out at you, like hands on hips, with like the kind of like wooden training sword just sticking out at like a weird angle, and she's just like rude.
It's like I'll kick your ass, like fuck. Just do it.
Not at this level, hun.
Equal rights and equal lefts.
This is about all we could reach anyway.
Yeah, a
Like-
paladin 5th level only has access to,
No.
I think, 2nd level spells.
Lesser Restoration is
Aw.
a second level spell.
I thought it was
Yeah.
3rd.
Yeah, no,
No,
I'm
it's
pretty. I'm
second.
pretty sure she can spend 5 points of lay on hands to cure a disease as well.
Yeah,
Like,
let's
okay.
do that.
Above
Listen.
board.
That's fucking
Just-
awesome, man.
Listen, just give me the mud, alright? It heals everything. Burn your hands. dip them in mud. Cut your arm,
Well-
slap some mud on it. Break your leg, mud.
If Rhea goes and gets me a drink, I'll send her up with some mud. Like, Jesus.
Yeah, so she keeps staring at you for like several minutes, right? Just to see if you'll relent on this, like, get me a drink thing.
Does she keep putting the fucking training sword at me? Because, like, I'll
No,
straight up
she's like just
pull
got
my
it at her.
fucking quarterstaff
She's
out
just
and I'll
got
be
it at
like,
her
"Let's go then."
side, right? Like she's not really like pointing it at you anymore, but she hasn't like put it down. But she's just like doing that like you could say please kind of thing, but she's not like
I'll say
saying
thank you in advance.
right.
So
and
you could
finally,
say she's audibly squinting.
Yeah.
yes, audibly squint. And so yeah, finally you're just like you say thank you in advance or whatever, and she just like ugh, and like throws her hands up and just like tosses the training sword onto like the picnic table and goes inside, and then comes back like a couple of minutes later and sets a mug down in front of you.
Okay. Does it have drink in it?
There is liquid inside.
She's a paladin. She would doing dirty. But listen,
No,
this is
it's
really
probably
important.
water.
You need to bring dirt up to Vert. It's really important.
I
Mud,
need to-
not dirt.
I need to what?
Mud.
What? Why does Vert need mud? Why can't he just get it himself?
Because he asked you to get it for him. Come on, team player and all that.
And she just kind of like squints at you again, and she's like, "Why is everybody being so weird today?" And she just like walks
Is
over.
this your first day being an adventurer? God.
And she walks over to like
What
the
is this,
shrubs
amateur
or
hour?
whatever, and like scoops up like some basically like potting soil or whatever, and just like
No, that's
squishes it
clay.
into like a dirt ball.
No, that's clay. He asked for mud.
What's the difference?
Oh my god, like, you don't know the difference between clay and mud. It's like, my god, there's no hope
I'm
for
a
you there.
soldier, not a gardener.
Well, listen, you've got to be a multi-skilled person if you're going to be an adventurer. Come on. Anyway, chop.
Right, so she like grabs a different clod of dirt and just like foists it towards you, like this one.
Oh, I don't fucking know. Like, go ask Bert.
She just like again, like hands in the air, just like wanders inside and leaves you out there with the drink that she brought you.
Right, I try to drink when she walks away.
It's
Is it
just
fucking
tea.
water? Oh my god! Like fucking bitch! I go up to Siani and be like, "Oh my god! Like, give me the plus."
She will procure the
Right.
flask from her belonging and just wordlessly hand it over.
So at some point after this, like Rhea comes walking upstairs, Lucina pokes her head in the door, and she's just like, Bosingba told me that Vert needed, and she just kind of like steps into the room, and she's got like a bowl of water in one hand and like a dirt clod in the other hand.
At this point, facepalm.
To grab Rhea and take her out into the
Audible
hallway so I
smack
can
on the
whisper to her.
forehead.
All this shit going on, and here's me having my sausages downstairs. Just
Right, you're watching people go back and forth, like Rhea's carrying around dirt for some reason.
You see ball hacking more on the way in than he was on the way out. Like, fucking tea at this time? Seriously? Oh, the audacity.
And
anytime
just from
anytime the barley tries to ask me questions about what's going on, I just say, "Don't worry about it."
and then from the
I
room,
won't
it's
let it.
just that's
Ding.
dirt, not mud.
Right,
Yes.
so Rhea joins you in the hallway, Lucina, and she's just like, "What is going on? Everyone is acting incredibly strange today."
It's been an odd morning, but I do need your assistance at the moment. Vert has contracted something absolutely horrific, and he's insisting on mud. However, you would be able to cure him with your lay on hands, correct?
Hang on. You're asking our meat shield, who Vjort has done nothing but completely ridicule since he joined our party, to help him.
That's not true. I've saved her life more than all of you combined.
Yeah, but you're still
I
a
don't know
dick
that.
to her.
I don't know that that's true
That's it.
either.
I put her in more danger than all of you combined, so I win, right?
And she kind of like leans to the side, like she gives you a very concerned look, and then kind of like leans over to like look in the room and see like she's actually now finally like taking notice of the boils and whatnot on Vert's body, and she's just like, oh goodness, what happened?
Well, traipsing around in sewers and whatnot, you're bound to pick up some interesting things.
Yeah, sewers happened.
You brought dirt, not mud. That's what happened.
Dirt, hush!
Somewhere in the background, you hear me go, fucking tea! Siani, flask, please!
fucking tea! Put the rum in this tea right now!
I'm assuming Bo is not entering the room.
No, I'm staying outside the fucking room, man. Like, Jesus, I'm gonna go back in there.
So she's gonna pull out the flask, say heads up, and toss it in his direction.
So, Rhea, if you could please, since he's so insistent on mud, could you make up a little bit of mud and use your lay on hands while you're slathering it on him so he'll shut up and, not have boils everywhere?
She kind of gives you this like, it looks like she's trying desperately to like hold in a laugh as you're explaining your plan, right? And she just kind of like closes her eyes for a second and like composes herself and starts to talk, and you hear like the beginning of like a titter, and she like fist to mouth, like trying to keep herself from laughing, and finally she's like, okay, don't you think it would be better if we didn't play into his delusions? I mean, do I really have to rub mud on him? That just seems so...
Mud, Rhea. Mud.
At this point, I think it's better to just go along with it. You can visibly see Lucina's patience is like completely gone. Like you can see a little blood vessel in her temple popping out.
Okay. Look, don't blow a gasket, all right?
I'm keeping it under control. Once this is done, I'm going to go make myself a nice pot of tea so I can sit
I
and
just
de-stress.
imagine you're like I've got this under control in the background. You just hear ring, 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 ring.
Yes,
exactly.
And she's
So
like,
I was
okay.
gonna stand up abruptly from where she was nailed next to him and take a few steps back and go, is this stuff contagious?
I'm gonna take the fucking chance.
Yeah, actually, I think Lucina could identify that yes, if you spend too much time in contact with the infected body parts, it is contagious.
Right, don't tell Rhea. Right, Rhea, chop. Mud on Rhea.
And she's like, okay, fine. And she like has the bowl of water that she brought up, and she just like just plonks the big old dirt clod in the water and just like punches it a couple of times and like swirls it around until she makes like basic like mud pie action in this bowl.
Might want to use gloves.
Oh, that's so
I,
good.
I finish up my breakfast and I wander back up the stairs and see the commotion going on and just give it a small stare, a little blink, and then I'm straight back into my room.
Right, she just watches you as you go past, and then she's like, a little pink-faced, looks at you, Lucina, and she's just like, I don't even know what to do with this. And she just like picks up the bowl full of mud and walks into your room. Are you still laying on the ground, like on the floor at this point, Vert?
Yes.
Or have you moved? Right. So she kind of like walks over to you, and like, are you laying like on your stomach, or are you laying on your back?
Face down.
Okay, she's like, okay, Vert, I'm gonna roll you over onto your back, okay? Please don't gore me with your horns or whatever. And she like rolls you over onto your back, and she just kind of looks over you, and she's just like, God, you are in terrible shape.
I just need the mud.
Right, the mud, right.
I'm gonna
And
hold my hands up.
She picks up the bowl and just like holds it above you, and then just like upends it on you and just like dumps it on you.
Perfect. I'm just gonna start greasing my arms with mud.
Right,
to cover the boils, you know.
And while you are distracted with that, she is going to very lightly, like, I think she just, like, stands up, and as she's, like, moving away, just, like, taps you on, like, the end of your antlers or whatever, and you feel, like, this kind of, like, warm, reassuring, like, presence of, like, strength, like, flood through your body, and as you are kind of, like, rubbing your arms down with the mud, it's like your hand, like, wipes over the lesions, and you wipe them away as though they were just, like, drawn on your body with, like, stage makeup, right?
See? Was that so hard? Mud helps everything.
Yes. Meanwhile, behind you and just out of view, Rhea looks at you, Lucina, and does that thing where she like holds up her hand like she's doing finger guns and blowing smoke off of the end of her fingertip and winks at you.
Sarah's gonna look between all of them, throw up her hands, and walk away.
Seeing as Rhea actually went along with all that bullshit, I'm going to boil some water for her and tell her to wash her hands after she touched fucking Rhea.
Yeah, I was gonna tell her to wash her hands too. Siani, you should probably do the same.
I never actually touched them. But she's going to wash either way, because she hasn't washed it this morning yet.
You've been in a room with a diseased person, and you were in a sewer yesterday.
Oh shit, that's right.
Oh, wait.
So not our bathhouse place.
I mean, this given the description of this particular inn, this Three Old Kegs probably has its own like heated bathing arrangements. So I'm sure there's probably like an on-site like little outbuilding or whatever where you can go and like have yourself a wash and get like ready for the day. You have time to like have your breakfast and get yourself right.
Everyone's heading down the stairs, and Ray just walks out the room fully clothed, ready to go out, and just sees everyone still in their jammies, still getting ready, about to go and have a bath. He's like, "You guys moan at me for being late? Come on!"
Annie doesn't do pajamas. She sleeps clothed and armored.
Well, no, I'd say pajamas. You know what I mean, though. Just
fucking piece of shit.
Ray, you know what they say? A broken clock's on time twice a day.
I'm just gonna give a large sigh and just go sit on the roof again and play my instrument.
Right. So
is that what you're calling it there?
That ain't right. So yeah, time passes. You have your breakfast. You have your bath. You get ready. It's probably, I don't know, a little before noon at this point, maybe like 10-ish. Yeah, given the events of the previous day, it is very clear that the cult has become like acutely aware of your presence within the city and has like reliable descriptions of at least a couple of you that they were able to issue to some of their undercover operatives in order to attempt to ambush you on that side street yesterday. So I guess the question is, are you going to go ahead and head for like the undercellar and try to figure out where Ribbons' lair is first, or do you want to head to the Van Thampers and address that problem more directly?
Assassin's coming up first doesn't really change the plan.
I kind of want to do Ribbons first. Yeah, I kind of want to do Ribbons first because once we go to the Vampires, that kind of feels like final. We can't really.
Sure.
Like that's just like my point of view of the group. Like, what do you guys think?
I'm assuming maybe at some point that Siani has learned about that zoo as well.
Yeah.
I mean, we would have had to walk past it on the way through. We just wouldn't have had time because all the refugees were out there.
Yeah, I mean, there is time enough for like those things theoretically. Like on your way out of town, or whatever the situation is, or you could do it now. Like, as far as going to the zoo, it's just like that's like way on the other side of town from where you are right now. Like, this is, I will say that, like, going to the Van Thamper Manor is not necessarily like an RPG, like, point of no return situation.
Like
it just feels like it.
Yeah. I've been conditioned in too many RPGs that I play that I can't, like, not think like that. I don't know, like, I'm sorry.
No, it's fine.
Whatever you guys think. I'm happy to go along with the group.
The underseller is as good as anything, really. I'm just, as the game master, I feel it is my duty to, like, just remind you of what the situation in the world is and how the gears of the plot are turning, right? Like, we have advanced to the point where your notoriety has become such that the cult is going to, like, continue to periodically try to murder you until you sort that problem out.
Sounds like a grind to me.
Is anyone good with illusions? We could just fire, like, some antlers on some guards as we walk past them.
Fuck's sake.
I mean, I could. I could just... Depends on when Marcus is gonna jump us, you know?
I mean...
Here's a secret, Cap. I don't even know.
We're not far from where this is supposed to be. The,
we're, like,
underseller,
we're, like, kind of in between both right now. Because the underseller, if I remember right, was beneath the wide.
So
yeah, the specific area you're looking for is under the wide.
Why don't we check that first, and then depending on what we find there, we can head towards Vandertham Manor afterwards and scout it out.
I agree. That was my vote as well. Just wondering what the rest think.
Yeah. Seems like a good option. We need to make sure that all our bases are covered, because we don't want any other surprises appearing.
Sure. Excuse me. Lucina, Vert, neither of you have really weighed in on the conversation, so thoughts?
It's hard to get a word in edgewise.
Sorry.
No, that plan sounds fine to me.
See, the thing is, you can use mud for literally anything. It treats burns, it treats cuts, it treats colds. It's nature's perfect remedy.
And I don't care where we're going, because I'm just going to mansplain about the healing properties of mud the entire way.
Right, you're just having this whole, like you're giving this dissertation to Rhea as you guys are just, like, walking along?
Yes.
Oh, God, and she's just, like her, she's just, like, pale-faced and confused and just, like, not making direct eye contact with you and just, like, slowly shaking her head and just being like, oh my God, what is going on? Just, like, muttering under her breath, apparently keeping Vert busy. So yeah, you head back into the wide then, where you robbed that salesman of his miniature giant space hamster.
He had it coming.
Which will never not be funny. Like, I told Cass this earlier, I should just fucking know better. Like, yeah. I put anything in this game, and you guys are just gonna, like, seize on it and be like, ooh, what's that?
Listen, you better hope that you don't have any goblin NPCs in this game, because guess what, buddy? They're adopted.
We're like a fucking pack of magpies. We see shiny, we go for it.
What's that? We all need a boblin? I'm in.
I mean, you already got, like, a little rat dude that's following you around, too.
Yeah. Oh, that's a good point. I'm also going to explain to him the healing properties of mud. Because it's good to be well-rounded.
Right, no, like, where Rhea is just confused and wishing you would stop saying weird things to her, like, little rat man is, like, he's, like, gotten a piece of paper from somewhere and, like, a quill pen, and he's, like, taking notes.
Yes, good.
He's just like, yes, rub the mud into the fur, cures burns.
Yes.
He's such a good kid. I love him so much.
It can also be used as a weapon. Keep some in your pocket and throw it at someone in their eyes to distract them and temporarily blind them.
Make sure to dry it out first.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. Pocket mud.
Pocket mud, yes.
And so yeah, you eventually you like Baw, you've been here before, like Ray, you've also spent time in Baldur's Gate. I do not think it is difficult, given that, to find one of the many entrances to the Undercellar, right? Like, it is this kind of, like, old, like, series of storage cellars, tunnels, like, hidden chambers, and like, loose sewer connections that kind of like weave together beneath this part of Baldur's Gate to create this sort of like, I don't know, like almost like a second city under Baldur's Gate, right? There's a bit of a like Empire of the Unseen situation going on where it's like both the criminal element of like smugglers and pickpockets and thieves and, you know, all other manner of undesirables like hang out in the Undercellar, but also like plenty of just like homeless people who don't really, like, refugees, I think, from Elturel are probably winding up down here as well, right? Because they don't really have, like, they're setting up a place for the refugees to go, but that shit's not ready. Like, that shit takes time, and not all of these people can afford, like, to stay at an inn, and a lot of the inns don't have rooms available if they're even like catering to the refugees at all. So,
and there was a lot of refugees before we turned up there a lot as well.
Yeah, and so you descend into this kind of like press of unwashed humanity that fills these kind of like winding, like spider-like catacombs.
You gotta mute yourself.
Oh, sorry.
I was like, what is that?
Was that a
Listen,
nose blow or static?
I'm not very smart.
Static nose blow.
SMRT.
I'll hand out some rations as we walk past like the refugees, the refugees.
Refugees.
Oh my goodness. Roll me a d20.
Okay.
Just flat, like, / roll 1 d20.
Nope. Fuck. / roll.
/ ROLL
roll.
space. Yep.
Or you could just use the dice roller.
I could.
I always forget that the dice roller is there.
That's what I exclusively use because I kept forgetting how to do it with command.
Hey, there we go. So, yeah, you start handing out rations. Like, I think, like, Rhea is actually, like she regards you as you're like handing out food to the poor, and like there is sort of like a lightening in her features, right? Like, she's been, I don't know, like, kind of put upon all morning because y'all been acting weird, and then Vert's just been telling her all about the healing properties and combative properties of mud, which is more than she ever wanted to know about damp dirt.
Mm-hmm.
But now here you are, like, being like genuinely kind and good-hearted to these people, some of which are like from the kingdom that she's from, right? And she's like, you know, she kind of steps over and like reaches into her own bag and starts pulling out some of her rations, right? And hands them out alongside you. And she's just like, I guess I'm sorry about the tea.
No. You know. we all take time to like get used to everyone, I guess. Like.
It's okay. Just don't
So
fucking
I'll just,
do it again.
Yeah.
I walk
don't
up.
fucking do it again, okay? Like, fuck.
And Ray walks up behind the two of them, puts his arms around both of them, which is really hard considering she's probably relatively tall and both.
Oh, yeah.
quite
Yeah,
small.
he's relatively small.
So I just kind of awkwardly kind of falling over a little bit, and I'm just like,
Got
guys,
a weird like
guys.
45-degree angle.
Yeah. I'm like, listen, this is really uncomfortable. Don't worry about it. Bo, she'll never do it again. And Rhea, if you do it again, I'm sorry.
You fucking will be. You as well, Ray. God.
Yeah, and she kind of like gives you a look and is just like,
Well, look on the bright side. At least I'll get to write a song about you.
Right. But yeah, you're like kind of like being a little loud and boisterous, and they're giving out food, which like per the D20 roll, I think all of you kind of notice that you are starting to attract some attention from the locals, right? Like more poor and unfortunates are kind of like moving in your direction with like, you know, that look in their eyes and their proverbial hands outstretched, hoping that they can get
I
some
literally
relief.
drop all 5 of my rations on like a carton nearby and say, "Help yourselves."
Yeah. So you're kind of like drawing people over like that way, and I think like an elderly man kind of approaches the group of you while others are like moving towards the food on offer. And he kind of regards all of you with a light smile on his face, and he's just like, I don't know who you are, but this is probably the kindest thing that anyone's done for many of us in days, if not weeks. So, thank you, strangers.
To Rat Friend in the background. And if the refugees ask you for alms, give them mud. It's free.
Right. Yeah, the rat's just like, mud, free, exclamation point.
So I walk up to the old man and I just give him a pat on the shoulder, and I'm like, it's nothing, honestly. It's not. Do you know what? How long have you guys been stuck here struggling? Come on.
Oh, he kind of like shrugs lightly, and he's just like, "Oh, I'm from here. I look after the needy and the less fortunate. And he kind of like holds up like his right hand, right, and his kind of like his sleeves were a little long and were kind of like hiding his hand, and he holds it up, and his sleeve kind of falls away, and you can see that like his right hand and like forearm are like wrapped in like really kind of intricate like patterns of like red string, in the same way that the cleric woman you met, Dara, was, which like indicates that he's a devotee of Ilmater, like the deity of like suffering and the poor and unfortunate.
Oh well, sucks to be you, my dude.
And he's just like, I just thought it was a good thing that you were doing. These refugees have been, some of these arrived on the first boat down from El Terrell when the disaster happened. I guess by their timeline that must have been some, 18, 19 days ago now? A few days on the river, and then they were here. They've had nowhere to go. Most of them don't have families to take them in. Horrible thing, stories they tell. Whole city annihilated.
And I give him a nod, and I'm just like, yeah, we happened to be around there that time, and even brought some here ourselves. We've seen the state of it, and Ray's just gonna stand up and just take a minute to think to himself, and sees Viert still chatting away about mud. And so he turns to Siani and just goes, Hey, do you think we should cheer these guys up a bit?
So Hannah will sort of like tilt her head to the side and say, how exactly?
Let me get you 2 barrels, and I'll get a box that I can stand on.
Oh, God, not again.
Oh my god, are you gonna make Siani do like stomp?
No, he's gonna make her fucking a set of drums, man.
I'm thinking like these people look like, I mean, look at them. They're clearly struggling. They've not had a good time in a while. Why don't we just throw a party right now?
Do it, Ray.
Perhaps-
Go on.
Time for a party?
Yeah,
Sorry.
perhaps because we have a mission we're going on, Mr. Ray.
What's the point in the mission if people aren't happy beforehand? They're just gonna be miserable afterwards.
It's a great
Okay.
idea, Ray. You stay here after the party. We'll go on, right?
Sandy's gonna
Ray.
sort of open her mouth and close it, because one of her things that she follows is that she's supposed to help the unfortunate and those who have traveled or wandered. And she's gonna be like, okay.
Right.
Okay.
Rat friend is definitely with the boss, though, right? He's like, mission.
Yes, I'm going to kneel down to Rat Friend and go,
Pay attention. This is important. Mr. Ray, these people are desolate. They will always be desolate. Your songs will not help them. But perhaps getting rid of the murderous cult in their city that is killing them will.
I can just see your fingers like.
yes.
I just well, I understand he makes a valid point. I'm like, yes, this is true. I understand that getting rid of the cult is obviously utmost priority, but there's kids here. Come on, like 5-10 minutes max, just to play them a nice little song and have smiles on their faces and let them just forget about, excuse me, some of the bad shit.
Yes, so that way the wall of reality can come crashing back into them.
What he said.
You do not do them a service.
I
You
do
a
them the
disco.
service, my friend. That is my job. Why do you think I travel from town to town? I enrich people with my music and good banter.
Rat friend looks at at Lucina while all of this is happening and goes, "The Bard services people."
Yeah.
Yes.
He likes to diddle kids.
Yep. We'll go with that. Sure.
Make sure to spread that word all around Baldur's Gate. I will pay you 20 gold.
As long as we keep it a short diversion, hope is a more powerful force than you'd think it would be.
Thank you. Are you gonna let us do this then, Marcus?
I mean,
Go for it.
you all do what you want to do, right? Like I'm just here to
Okay.
facilitate.
So,
like if
I
you guys want to.
If you're
Okay.
putting your foot
Okay.
in here, I can't
So
stop it.
I just turned to Lucina, no, I turned to Ciani, sorry, I just go, like, 2 barrels for you, I'll just take this box here, and he pulls over this, like, I don't know, cabbage box or something, half filled. He's like,
My cabbages!
oh, there we go, puts some metal wood on top so he can stand on it, and then he's like, okay, well, here we go, and he shouts out to the crowd, like, guys, listen carefully. We've come from another town and we want to give you some fun. Seriously. And like, I'll just like pull one of the cabbages out and just chuck him into the crowd and it's like, come over here. I'll play a song for you.
Yeah, definitely somewhere behind you. You hear somebody just like, "Hey, don't give away my cabbages!"
And so I start, I just start going, to start to gather around. I'm like, okay, Ciani, do you know the song I wrote about Boasting Ball?
By now, yes. Yes, I do.
Oh, boy.
Okay, everyone, this one's called The Unlucky Halfling. The 1 and the 2.
Can I just lean into Lucina and say, he keeps saying we. I don't think it means what he thinks it means.
Definitely doesn't. I say from the side.
Like, here's the thing, right?
A little
Like,
verse
while
goes a little verse goes past and I hear him whispering and I'm just like, da 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 da, hear that lashing man, da 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 da.
well, what I was going to say is, while he's making a big production and like trying to entertain the crowd, like, the rest of you could just wander off.
Like,
Yeah.
I don't know. I was going to ask Vert if he had any ribbons left.
I
And
have
ask that. can we ask that priest that we were talking to? He sounded like he was here for a while.
Sure. Yeah.
He'd,
No, that's
had any leads on what direction we should head? Maybe.
completely valid.
I have all
Well,
of
he's
Ribbon
no
in
good
my
with
inventory.
attention. She's gonna need that flask back.
Oh yeah, like I handed it to you right before you got on stage. Like,
And to that, you would get a grateful smile.
But yeah,
I don't-
so go ahead, Ray. Give me a performance test with I'll give you advantage because you have Siani helping you.
19.
ropes down in.
All right,
Ooh.
nice, big numbers, good times. Yeah, so like the crowd is definitely like taken in by it, right? Like they're happy to be distracted for a time by music and song and
More importantly, a
lyrical
song that everyone
witticism.
knows because it's so famous about Ba and his incredibly unlucky self.
Right, yeah, like when they realize what song you're playing, right? Like you definitely hear some people in the audience are like clapping along and at the very least they're singing the chorus, right? I always imagine that it's like that, right? People don't necessarily know all the verses, but everybody knows the chorus.
Yeah.
But while that's happening, if the rest of you want to like make better use of your time, in the pragmatic sense of the word, I mean, yeah, if you wanted to take like one of Ribbons's ribbons and ask around, you could certainly do so. And I would say. This could be done in the form of either an investigation check or like a persuasion check, as you kind of like not just the priest, but also like there's other people you could like ask around in the area, right, and see if you could get a little bit of information.
Yeah, they're both equally shit, so I'll go for persuasion.
Sure, and I assume if you have like one of Ribbons's ribbons, I assume like you can get one from Vert, right? I don't know. Well, I guess I shouldn't speak for you. Would you be willing to part with one of them, Vert?
No.
Well, would you? Would you
What
be
about a
willing?
Would you be willing to trade for one of them?
Yes.
I can give you this ball of dirt.
Option B, why don't we just haul Virt around so he can wear his ribbons still and we can still use them to ask questions?
Lucina, this is why you're the brains of this group.
Yes,
This is why
I
you're the
know.
actual leader.
If you will all recall, the ribbons are tied to my rats.
To your swarm, yeah, I remember.
Right.
That's why
yeah.
I was asking you for the a single ribbon.
Just hold one of the rats out and just be like squeaking, squeaker, squeak. But yeah, so I guess either check you would like to make, I will give you advantage because you have people helping you, as well as like material evidence that you can demonstrate.
Not bad for
And-
+1.
Hey, not bad at all. So yeah, I think yeah, you ask a couple of people and I think it is ultimately the priest again, right? Like he sees you kind of like milling through the crowd, like talking to people while everyone else is enjoying the performance, and he comes over and tries to get the feel for what you're asking about. And when you kind of like display one of the ribbons and I guess like do you just like ask where this assassin hangs out? Like how do you frame this question, right? Because this priest is like definitely trying to be helpful, but like
I'd say we had a run-in with somebody that wore ribbons similar to these, and we were, I don't know, like told that she had a place down here where we could maybe like meet up and deal with our problems more politically or some shit like that and bullshit them.
And he, I think when you kind of display the ribbon and explain the situation, like you see like his face like pales a little bit, right? Like there's an obvious concern, like he recognizes the calling card, like
Mhm.
and he just kind of like looks around and he's just like, if you're looking for that one, I hear they died topside. You probably don't have anything to worry about.
That's a shame. So where were they set up? Do you know the
And he
general
kind
area?
of gives you this appraising look, right? And like he recalls then that you've been nothing but like good and helpful since arriving. And he just kind of like shakes his head and he's like, I can't say as I think it's a good idea for you to continue pursuing this course of action.
No one asked you, old man.
And he
Where
kind of like holds up a
is it?
finger at you and he's like, I'm not done, son.
Son.
In here, you little shit.
And because he's like an old man, right?
Yeah,
And, like he's
yeah.
a long-suffering like devotee of the god of suffering, right? So he's just like, you listen
Oh,
here,
actually, we
you
might be
little
friends then.
So he's been through one of Ray's concerts before then.
Wow.
fuck. Wow, fucking brutal.
Hey, listen, you gotta take the piss at me every time you get a promise, I'm gonna give you it back. Like, fuck you.
But yeah, he turns his attention back to you, Baw, and he's like, "There's a tavern down here, and you might have heard of it, might not. It's called the Exploding Pig."
Really?
Have I heard of that in my past? That's all.
I mean, you're in with the criminal element. Yeah, you've vaguely heard mention of it. It's the kind of place where
don't wanna
murderers and cutthroats hang out when they need a place to lie low but still want to get a drink.
Oh boy.
And he kind of indicates like one of the tunnels that's leading out of this kind of like large room that this concert is going on, and like the raucousness is still like in the background of all of this. And you can see that there's like markings on some of the tunnel walls, right? And there is like a scratching on one of the walls that you like, now that you look at it, it looks kind of like the front and back half of a pig that have been like drawn like kind of at weird angles separated from each other with like a fireball or something like between them. And it's just like very crudely like scraped on the wall. And he's like, if you follow those markings through the tunnels, eventually you'll find the place you're looking for. And it is my understanding that there is back rooms available for regulars, if you take my meaning.
To the rat friend, take a note. Buy a pig.
He's like,
Hey, the old
pig.
man, yeah, I
Period. Question
catch
mark?
Yes, I know what you mean. Thanks for your help. I'll give him like 10 silver.
Yeah, and he's like, oh, no. And he kind of like, he motions to like a nearby like shrine to Ilmater, and there's like an alms box, and he's like, I need for nothing, but offerings here will help the less fortunate.
I'll throw it in there.
Yeah. So
I
And
will
then
put
I'll-
an offering of mud.
It's very generous there. I don't know why you would give away such a vital resource as that.
yes, the rat friend also puts a small daubing of
Good.
mud.
Good.
And you get, once again, audible squint from the old priest.
Lucina will go behind them and remove the mud and put some more money in the alms box.
God damn it.
Right, and the old man just, like, comes over as you're, like, walking away, and he's just, like, you know, like, lays a hand on your shoulder, and he's just like, thank you, child.
Yes, I'm very sorry for them. Please pay them no mind.
And he's like, think nothing of it, and then he kind of like says a quick little prayer, and gives you like a benediction from his deity. And next check you make, I will grant you a D4, as though you had been provided bless or guidance.
Sweet.
Because you have done a solid for a fellow cleric.
Listen, I'm just going to throw it out there, but an offering of mud is the perfect neutral evil offering, okay? It's not bad, but it's not good.
Not arguing,
Well,
not playing
you're,
that. I thought it was great.
While you're finishing up your conversation, it gets to the end of the performance, and I take out 50 copper pieces and I just throw it into the crowd. It's like, there you go, guys, there you go.
Oh my gosh, you're so generous. Yeah, I mean, like, people are obviously diving for the money regardless, but
This is how he starts riots. He always brings it back to throwing money into crowds and shit, man.
Always.
Mr. Ray, have you ever fished before?
What?
I
Have you
step off the
ever?
box pretty happy, and I'm just starting to hear you asking the question, and I'm like, Beard, I have been fishing many a time. In fact, some random quits from villages asked me to gather fish. Why?
You're giving out fish.
What?
Teach a man to fish and all that, you know.
And I'll just
Thank you.
I'll just take a
Thank
look
you,
at
Mr.
the box near that they're near and see the mud in it, and I'm just like, you're giving out mud.
Mud.
Vital
has many
healing mud.
uses.
Jesus. Like, I'm a useless fucking drunk, and even I know better than to throw money at a fucking, like, homeless refugees.
Yeah, and that's kind of the point I'm getting at is you should teach them to fish. I mean, you shouldn't just give them fish.
I get
I mean,
that,
that's-
but this is also a small performance for a bunch of refugees who have been having a bad time. So this is to cheer them up a little bit and keep them going a little longer.
You should give them
I
hot
guess-
lessons.
I guess while they're having that conversation, is gonna slip away from her impromptu drums, palm sort of smarting from it, and head off to the alms box and also provide some coins into it.
Certainly.
She's being quiet about it though because she doesn't really want any more notice than she's already gained.
Obviously, you probably also don't want to be counseled by Vert about not giving away.
Yeah.
So anyway,
So off to the
Burning
exploding,
pig.
the exploding pig, then, yeah.
sounds like a great time. I'm definitely going to die here.
What was that about roasted bacon? What?
Something.
You had
roasted.
breakfast already.
Yeah. Had more than me for a change. Jesus.
Yeah.
That's
So
not my fault
you
you were
you
Man, somebody got me tea this morning. It was the whole thing.
It was a whole thing.
Yeah. Like,
It
Of
was
tea.
a thing.
yeah, like, I got tea instead of rum. Like, it threw my whole morning out of whack. Like, took me forever to get it back into swing of things.
Yeah, so you make your way through the tunnels. Eventually you come to like I guess it would, like, the best way I can explain it, have you who has played Skyrim? I assume everyone?
Listen,
Yeah.
Sort of.
Hillary's like the Skyrim master, okay?
Right.
Oh, God.
I got to a village, accidentally took a piece of garlic, got chased out of town by the guards because of that, and that annoyed me, so I came back at night when everything was quiet and stole every fucking cabbage in the place and threw them in the river.
So yeah,
So-
you played
So yeah, you played
And
Skyrim. Yeah.
then I closed the game and never went back.
So
I mean, that's
I
better
Play
than,
like
that's actually better than my mum's only experience with Skyrim. She turned it on, did like the starting part, went to the first village, went into the first shop, and they kept staring at her, and she found this very unnerving and unsettling. So she went into the corner of the room, saved the game, turned it off, and never went back.
Hun, didn't you play something like 600 hours of Skyrim?
That's not much.
No, it's only like 300 hours for Skyrim. I've got like over 1,000 hours on Borderlands, though.
Hi, hello. Have you seen how much we've played on Ark?
But yeah, maybe Avisa won't get this reference, but I'm kind of specifically picturing like the Riften Thieves Guild in my head.
Yeah.
Like you come to like a space that's kind of like it's like a cistern like under the city, like a big like open like circular like pool of water, but there are several like floating like kind of like dock platforms that have been built above this water that are kind of like on like shaky kind of like pontoons and like barrels and other like floats, and there's little like bridges that have been laid between them, and there are several like tables and places to sit, and it's all like lit by either like torches that have been like kind of hastily nailed to the side of these floating platforms, or by like weird like junk chandeliers like hanging from the vaulted ceiling, which gives it this kind of like murky dimness. And then actually on kind of like the solid stone part in an alcove there is like the actual like bar part where all of like where you could walk up and order drinks or like just sit and talk to the bartender, and where all of like the actual booze is kept. And behind the bar you see that there's like 4 like huge kegs like set back into this alcove, which like the what I'm talking about, like the kind that you use to like store like large quantities of beer or wine in, that are like taller than an adult human, like big
like
round fronted kegs just set into the wall.
Yeah, like a Tuesday night. What do you call it? The drink you have before bed for Bo.
Yeah.
Nightcap.
And
like a nightcap
hanging,
for Bo.
And hanging above the bar at the bar is this kind of like big, like a burly looking dude with like tattoos on his arms and like an eye patch and looking real grizzled as he's just like cleaning a mug like any bartender in any RPG. And hanging from the ceiling above him is a sign that looks like this.
I love it. It's got the snout on it.
Yep.
That's quality. So Rhea, it probably goes without saying, but don't ask anyone questions here. Just like maybe let the back be quiet.
Yeah, she's like doing that shifty-eyed, like looking around, trying her best to pretend that she's not a cop, but she's definitely giving off cop vibes.
Yeah. Like maybe just don't go off on your own here, because please don't.
Yeah. And like there is some number of patrons here in the bar as well, right? Like there's a few dwarves, a couple of half orcs, some humans. Like you see a couple of halflings on one of the floating like tables, like playing cards. But
no, we're here for a mission. No cards.
In general, there's like it's like you walk in, right, and like people look up, take note of the fact that you're there. You can see several of them probably do the quick mental calculus of whether or not they can take you guys in a fight.
That appraisal kind of thing.
Yeah. And then they go back to their drinks and they don't say anything, right? And the bartender, this is not the kind of friendly place where the bartender's like, hey, come on in and have a seat, right? He likewise notes that you're there, spits into the spittoon. You hope there's a spittoon behind the bar. You're not sure. And then continues, like, cleaning the mug. Like, he just, like, you talk to him. He doesn't talk to you. So what do you do?
Well, I found the place. I don't know what to do here now.
We're looking for ribbons.
You saying that to Bo, or are you saying that to just some random patron?
To the bartender.
Ah, so you approach the bartender. All right.
Yeah.
He kind of looks up and tilts his head to the side, and he's just like, "This look like a fabric store to you, son?"
Oh no.
Oh boy.
No.
My good man, can I get a drink, please?
What?
No, I was talking to the bartender. Sorry.
Yeah, and he kind of
I'll
like,
grab a drink and let you carry on. Like, it's just like, oh man, I need a drink before this goes down. Like, fuck.
just like, "All right, hey, what do you want?"
Anything, just anything. Closest thing. Fuck it.
Anything. All right. And he reaches under the bar, pulls up like a bottle that appears to be full of some sort of like dark, like colored liquid that the bottle's just got a thick like caking of dust on it. Probably hasn't been
Yeah.
opened in God knows how long.
Yes, thank you, hon.
That's what I think I'm getting as well. Like, oh
Give
no.
it the tune.
Oh no.
And he kind of like pops it open, takes a sniff, shrugs, gets out a shot glass, pours it, corks the bottle, puts the bottle back under the bar, slides the shot glass up to you, and he's like, "Well, you said anything."
I am regretting my choices right now.
And he's like eyeballing you, right? Like, he hasn't asked for payment yet, at least.
I mean, fuck it. I'll drink it. Like, go for it.
All right, I get you to make me a Constitution saving throw, please.
Yep. Nope.
Whoa.
Oh,
Okay, so
Oh, wait, is that a one? Did I roll a one though?
let me mouse
rolled a
over the
3.
number.
All right, I'll just do it.
no, that would be a 3.
He rolled a 1, and then it auto re-rolled a 3 because he is a
Right.
halfling. Is what
Ah, right.
happened.
That's sweet. I didn't know it done that.
Yeah. So, yeah, you. Well, okay. So here's what's going to happen. You are going to take the poisoned condition,
Okay.
which
Awesome.
just gives you disadvantage on all of your checks until you either like have like until either someone casts like lesser restoration on you or you get Rhea to like lay on hands to remove it, or you take a long rest, because you are not sure what kind of like cleaner that is, but it's definitely not alcohol, right?
Oh god.
I give him a hard pat on the back. It's like, slam! Ah! Good stuff then?
Man behind the bar is just like laughing and shaking his head.
So I sit down at the bar next to Bo, who's like choking and stuff, and I just give the guy a nod and just say, "Some ale."
Like, yeah, and he turns and goes to one of the kegs and like, give me a perception check. Give him the spittoon. Jesus. Okay, yeah, he goes off and he like hits one of the kegs and like pours you a drink, and you see him like do something, but like you're not entirely clear on what he's doing behind the bar. He comes back over, he sets it down, and he's like, "That'll be 2 silvers."
I hand him the 2 silvers, and I put my hand over the flagon he's given me, and I
Yeah.
sort of pull it towards me, and I just go, "Ribbons. We need to know. It's his protege we're looking for, right?"
Well, his protege or her protege was the Rat King. You killed.
Yeah.
Okay.
You killed the Rat King already. You were looking for like Ribbons' like hideout
Okay,
specifically
right.
to see if you could find any more information.
Okay, so I pull it towards me, and I look the guy dead in the eye, and I go, "My friend's an idiot. We need to find where Ribbons is, or because they where Ribbons stuff is. We have it on the authority of the oh god, what was the name of the people that deal with the sewers?
Oh,
The Thorn
the guild of sewers and cellarers
Yeah,
or whatever.
I'll say like so,
Louis Basement is-
there's some things that need cleaned up, and we're from the guild. We're from the guild, and I'm going to use my performance of creation to just sort of
Uh-huh.
make a sort of mock badge and just put it
Okay.
on the desk in front of him.
Now let me clarify something on your performance of creation, right?
Uh-huh.
Does it look magical? Like, I don't remember.
Let me channel them. So non-magical item here. It glimmers softly, and a creature can hear faint music when touching it.
Okay,
That's
so
about
it looked like, here's the thing, right? Like, Baldur's Gate doesn't issue like glittering, sparkly badges. Like, this fucking city wasn't made by that lady who sold all those fucking trapper keepers in the 80s and had dolphins and orcas and shit on them.
Yeah,
Lisa Frank.
but hear me out.
At.
I'm gonna put it on the I'm gonna put it on the desk in front of him, and I'm gonna say to him, "This is from one of the hires up. Smell it down if you want."
Right, okay. Give me... Give me a persuasion check with disadvantage. Okay. He looks at it, looks at you, kind of like squints his one good eye, and then glances out of the corner of that eye at Vert, and then looks the other direction at the still coughing Boasing Baw, and
I'm dying
then
at that point. Like,
just
straight
like
up.
flicks the badge like back at you, and he's just like, one, I don't give a shit about what authority you think you have. Two, if you think I'm foolish enough to think that, whatever that is, has any value, you're less smart than I thought you were. But I've heard of you. I know you and your boys are the ones that killed Ribbons. So you probably think you're entitled to her trove. Yes, I got the right of it.
I give a small smirk, and it's like, something along those lines.
Yeah, and he nods, and he's just like, well, again, I guess I had convinced myself that you would be individuals of a higher quality, considering you managed to take out one of the best, but... And again, he looks at Boasing Baw and kind of like laughs to himself because, you know, he literally just made you drink like the equivalent of like paint thinner, and you did it.
Yeah. I'm not a
He's-
smart man.
And he's just like, I suppose I've had a fairly good laugh today, and doesn't do me any good to keep her possessions hid away. People are going to come for them one way or another eventually. If you take them, it's a problem I don't have to deal with anymore. And he like starts moving down the bar away from you, and you hear this kind of like repeated like step thump that like indicates that he's got like a peg leg. And he kind of like waves his big like meaty like sausage fingered hand over his shoulder after a second when he realizes you aren't like immediately following him, and he's like, come on, you want it or not?
And I'll just take the flagon of ale and just take it along with me and undo the thing of creation, let it explode on the desk, and just follow him down.
Like sparkles and like musical notes just like shoot off in every direction like bad fireworks.
Mm-hmm.
From your little badge. And yeah, whoever wants to come along can come along, obviously. And he kind of like walks into the back, like there's a little door that he goes through, and there's more like storage back there for crates and whatnot, and a few more of those kind of like large, like fermentation style kegs or whatever. And he walks down the row, and eventually he comes to one of them, and he like leans over to the side of one of these big kegs, and you hear him like messing with something, and there's like a clunk sound as he like like flips a lever or like messes with some kind of mechanism, and then like leans back, like comes back to like standing straight up, and he like turns the tap on the front of the keg in a specific way, and like the whole like circular front of this big fermentation keg like swings open just a little bit like a door. And he just kind of like turns to you and thumbs towards it, and he's just like, it's in there. And then he just goes to leave. Unless anyone stops him.
I'm still sitting at the bar. Bo and Ray have got this. They must have, or else they wouldn't have risked interrupting my conversation with the barkeeper.
Sorry about that. My bad. I'm dying, man. I can't even talk anymore. I'm just drinking fucking paint thinners.
Detect magic in the room just to make sure.
You don't see anything. Nothing is giving off the aura.
Okay.
Bartender kind of like wanders off, leaving you back there. Realizes that like some of you probably haven't followed, because like I don't know where are you guys at, Siani, Lucina? Like you guys still out in the tavern proper, or are you tagging along with Ray?
Danny would have followed Ray, sort of bringing up the rear, keeping an eye on their backs. She's also fucking humming that song that they were singing because it's now stuck in her head.
There's a reason they went all over the fucking all over Faerun.
You got the earworm. How about you, Lucina? You
I'm chilling at the bar with Virt.
right? So, yeah, bartender comes back out, kind of like looks at you, Vert, looks at you, Lucina, looks at coughing, hacking, dying, Bosing Baw, and then Rhea, who's trying her best not to be a cop. And he just kind of looks.
What are you doing, fellow criminals?
He just kind of looks at you, Vert, and he's just like, "So you want to continue doing this, or do you want to go hang out with your friends in the back?"
Do you have any tea?
We don't really cater that kind of clientele down here.
May we have a table then?
I mean, I suppose. You gonna order something?
Sure. Jerked beef.
How many times are we gonna do this joke? You know what? I'm gonna roll it. I'm gonna roll a d20.
Oh no.
No, you know what? I'm gonna roll fudge die. That's what I'm gonna do.
What's a fudge die?
It produces either no result, a positive result, or a negative result. Okay. He just like he nods to you and he's like, pick whichever table you like. I will get this. I'll make you something. And he like turns around, walks into the back, and like you hear him like fire up the stove.
Don't trust what it gives you.
Thank you. Lucina, would you like to have some tea while we wait for whatever it is they're doing?
Sounds delightful. What kind of tea would you like today, Virt?
I'm easy. Rhea, you look like a cop. Stop it.
And she kind of like looks at you and she's like, but I'm not
Sit
doing anything.
down and have some tea.
Rhea,
Right.
in this kind of situation, confidence is key. Act like you belong here, dear.
Yes, ma'am.
Stab Mr. Barr. It will up your street cred.
What?
Don't
No.
stab off.
Yeah, she just kind of like
Please make me feel better.
she pats you on the back and gives you like the remove poison, like lay on hands treatment.
Listen, I'm not wrong though.
No, you are not. Like, if she were to just stab Ba right now, she would probably look much better in the eyes of all of these criminals. But
Mhm.
and instead, she'll cure you of your poisoned condition and then go sit down next to Lucina and wait with you while having a nice cup of tea.
I guess I'll go and help research the room, seeing as that was the one that cut her off.
Yeah.
Sorry.
And I think what happens.
Sorry.
I think what happens is a few minutes later, right? Like, I'm sure what Vert was actually asking for when he said jerked beef was like jerky or something of the sort. Instead, you get this kind of like wet looking like curry dish served next to potatoes that has clearly been made with whatever the Forgotten Realms equivalent of Scotch bonnet peppers is.
You missed an opportunity to get some bell peppers
Hell.
beef.
Hell yeah. That sounds delicious.
Yeah,
And-
I mean, that doesn't sound bad.
Yeah.
I'll give him 5 gold.
he nods and
And I'll
takes
just be
the payment.
cordial and say thank you. Which is very out of for Lucina and whoever else is around. When's the last time Virt's ever said thank you?
You thanked me
These
before.
rats. Oh
Yeah,
yeah,
Yeah.
Lucina and the rats.
That's different. You're
And
a messenger of Bashaba.
right. Yeah, and he's just like, and like I said, it's kind of this like curried dish, like very like hot, spicy peppers, like very like bold Caribbean flavors served alongside like fried like smashed potatoes or whatever. And you put the gold on the table and he takes it, like, and then like somehow like you're not sure where he was keeping it, but he produces like a mug
Mhm.
and sets it on the table, considering that you've paid, and like the mug is like cold to the touch and is just filled with milk, and he's like, you might need this.
Thank you.
And then he just like turns and walks away, like, and you hear like him clinking the coins in his hand as he walks off, and he's just like muttering to himself, it's nice to actually have customers that appreciate good cooking.
Yeah, right? I'm going to enjoy my meal. Lucina, would you like some of my curry?
I would.
Okay. We're going to have curry.
Curry and tea.
Yeah, and so meanwhile in the back, you come wandering in, you find that there is a large keg that the front has opened like a doorway, and I assume at this point, Ray, you've probably at least like opened it enough to like look inside.
Yeah.
And like the inside of the keg is empty, but it is pushed up against like the cold like stone wall of these underground tunnels in such a way that like the back has been removed and there's like a door that this keg was just like set in front of and made like the secret entrance to, essentially.
Secret tunnel in the bar.
And you head through there, and if you kind of step through that doorway in the back, it like you have dark vision, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so beyond that door there is like a small-ish like room. It's like I don't know, probably like 10 feet by 20 feet. Like Spartanly furnished. Like there's obviously like a writing desk or like a desk of some sort that you could use as like a writing desk, but also like a place to maintain like one's equipment. There is a simple cot that someone can sleep on. There are a few like different like shelves that have kind of been like haphazardly like attached to the walls that have like different bits and bobs on them. There's like a rack that has like different like lengths and shapes of like sword and dagger and like throwing weapon just like hanging above that work table / desk situation, all of which appear to be like in very clean, like working order. And then there is like another like closed door on like the west wall that leads to another room.
Okay.
And it's completely unlit in here, but there's definitely like there's like an oil lamp.
I'll save
like
it
in
some
one
hassle
corner.
and I'll just use that.
Sure. So you turn the lamp up, and yeah, like fully lit. The room definitely has that air of like, like this is a very functional space that like a professional assassin would use as like a hideout, right? Like no frills, no decoration, just a place to sleep, a place to work, and just tools of the trade.
Mm-hmm.
And this other door that leads out of the room.
Seeing that there's just some regular tools and stuff, I'll just head towards the door.
Sure. Is anybody gonna stop him, or are you gonna?
I'll stop him having like almost blown myself up twice and actually blown myself up once.
3 times.
But, yeah, the 3 times, almost twice, and I have actually blown myself up once. So yeah, 3 times. So yeah.
Couple of different problems there. Yeah. Go ahead and give me a perception check then. Whomever thinks to check the door.
That's not good.
Oh no!
Oh yeah, I'll use luck on that. Fuck it. Oh, never mind. Siani to the rescue. Thanks. Yeah, looks good, Ray. Right.
Yeah, like Ray doesn't seem to be that concerned. Bossing Boss seems to be distracted by something, perhaps, or just generally being bad at his job today. But you, Siani, something seems off about the door, right? I'm not exactly sure what it is that tips you off, but like as you look at it, you realize that like maybe it just occurs to you that like, oh yeah, this is an assassin's hideout. That door is probably trapped. And
I was not thinking, but I rolled a fucking 4, so.
And upon closer inspection, where Baugh failed to notice it, you in fact notice that the door is trapped.
So she's gonna just sort of hold up a hand and say, "Let's take a closer look at this."
Looks fine to me.
Yeah, I was gonna say, you lean a little bit closer, Siani, and you realize like it's a set into like the door or like the stone like door frame, and like there's like kind of like the typical like handle, and there is like a key lock, right, that you would like place like a big like heavy iron key into to unlock the door. But as you are looking at it, you realize that like kind of hidden in the filigree of like the door, like the setting that like the handle and the lock are set in, they're like it's ornately detailed for reasons that make it incongruous with the rest of the room. And you realize looking at it, there's actually like some of the kind of like filigreed like detailing and like pattern on this kind of like metal plate that the door handle and lock are set into that can move. And you kind of like very carefully like push this little metal plate aside with your fingertip, and it reveals that there is in fact a second key lock concealed in the mechanism of the door.
Yeah, fine, sure. It absolutely looked fine.
Oh yeah, totally. Wait, is that? Oh. Wow. That paint thinners went right to my head. It's like fuck.
Not the wisest thing you've drunk.
Nah, probably won't be the last either.
Probably.
Yeah.
So I like to try unlock this then? Is that the plan?
Yeah, it seems clear to you that the concealed lock is probably the one you should actually be fiddling with.
Okay.
Yeah, the one's probably got some kind of something deadly
Boom.
attached to it.
Sure.
Yeah, so let's try to unlock it then, I guess. If that's where we're going.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, give me a thieves tools check. Okay, cool. You disarm that second lock, right? Like you very carefully like pick it, and then you hear like the sound of like the deadbolt or whatever like sliding clear. Do you open the door?
The way you said that, I shouldn't, but I'm gonna.
So
You committed. Come on.
yeah, so you
Well-
oh, go ahead.
I was gonna suggest we make the door ajar, and I was gonna push it open with my staff.
When's a door not a door?
Ajar.
Wait a minute.
When it's a
Well,
mimic,
yeah,
grabs a hold of Bosing Ball and starts chewing on his head.
Oh no.
But no, so you wanna open the door slightly and then push it open with your staff.
Yeah. Not gonna walk right through that.
Okay, yeah. So you very carefully like pull the handle down. You push the door open just enough that you hear the catch come free, and then you step back and you let Siani like push it open with her staff, and it opens a few inches, and then a foot, and then a few feet, and you hear the kind of like under-oiled like hinges squeak as the door swings inward and light floods in from the oil lamp, and nothing bad happens.
I fucking knew it, man. Like, yeah, told you it looked fine.
Bo takes one step.
But yeah, exactly what I was going to do. Like, I take a step in, and then
No,
that was all she wrote.
I was gonna throw the dancing lights in there so we can see ahead.
Yeah, so you toss the dancing lights into the room. I'm gonna let Siani, I'm gonna let your perception check ride. There is what appears to be like a bunch of like cables and stuff that are like running along like the floor and then kind of like up the walls, and there is this like device that's like centered in the middle of the ceiling of this room that you're looking in that looks like and like all of the cables like run back to a central point that then run behind like the now open door. So unless you like close the door and look at the backside of it, you're not exactly sure what the linkage here is. But it seems to be that like if this door was opened incorrectly, all of these cables would have like actuated and like triggered the device on the ceiling, which looks like it would have just released like a shitload of alchemist fire and immolated everything in the room.
Huh.
Neat.
Now
I'm
as
just gonna look at that and whistle quietly.
yeah. Now, as for the room itself, it has another like there's like a little kind of like bookcase / scroll case kind of situation. On one wall, there is like another kind of like writing desk space back here. There is a chest like set against one of the walls that is closed, and then there is what appears to be like an altar like set against the far wall, which like depicts I guess it would be a very familiar looking form to you, Siani. It is an altar that has like a small statue of like blackened iron like sculpted in the shape of like a bald woman with very severe looking features wearing like ornate armor and like in one hand they are holding like a mace or like a warhammer of some description, and then like their left hand has actually been like cut off and is replaced with like a chain that ends in like a spiked ball, and their arms are kind of held out to either side and they're looking upward towards the sky, and then they have like a pair of wings that like come out from their shoulder blades in either direction. And it occurs to you that this form looks very similar to the form of the kind of like quasi angelic being that was depicted in the bark of the drawing tree.
Yes. It's not a figure she... Well, actually, shouldn't be surprised to see it replicated, but she was not expecting to see it here.
It's interesting, yes.
So I guess she's going to stare at that for a while, then pull the bark drawing out of her backpack and look at that too.
Yeah. So, there is a notable difference here in that, like, the statuette on the shrine, which is kind of like surrounded by unlit candles and has, I think there's like a bowl in front of it that, is probably used to like burn offerings, right? And you see there's like bits of like scorched fabric and stuff just kind of like laying in the bowl. In the depiction on the shrine, the angelic being, which I think you guys are maybe starting to figure out is a depiction of Zariel, looks confident and powerful and like she is in control. Like it is a depiction that is full of majesty and worthy of worship. The depiction on the piece of bark is kind of furtive, a little like afraid, perhaps. Like the facial expression is a little bit more anguished, and they're like desperately reaching skyward, trying to grab for this like sword that is just out of reach. And they are bound in chains that they are straining against, that so hard that some of the links in the chain are starting to like break and stretch, but still there's like an obvious like motion to the image that makes it seem as though this angelic being is being like drugged downward into like the inferno, right? two different depictions of a very similar looking being.
So I walk up to Siani and I just say, "Oh, wait, this does look very similar, but not quite there. Maybe we should talk to our patron about this."
Maybe, though I'm not sure how much they could offer, considering they knew less about it than we did in the first place.
This is true.
So, meanwhile, back out in the bar, I think we cut back to you, Vert, and Lucina and Reyes sitting there, like, probably, trying to look less like a cop, drinking some tea. And
How spicy is the meatball?
it is quite the spicy meatball. It is sweat-inducingly spicy, right? The kind where you're sweating on your upper lip.
Since I have a level of resistance to fire, does that mean it's less spicy for me?
Yeah, it probably doesn't affect you as much. Which makes it even funnier to me. I don't know how Verity does with spicy food, but clearly Lucina's
I don't know. Let's see.
handling it okay. Pretty good. You're doing all right.
Hey, there you go.
Hey.
I think Rhea probably had one bite and is just like, no, not for me, and is just like wiping her tongue and like trying to like wash it off with tea, which isn't gonna work. We all know that's what the milk is for.
Yeah, I'll slide the mug of milk over to Rhea.
And she takes a big pull. But in the meantime, while you've been eating and kind of like out there, you, through whatever means there, you can tell me, you have attracted a few of the other sort of patrons, right? There's a few extra people sitting at the table when we come back. Did you just like summon them over? Did you give them the evil eye? Like, how did you round up a few prospective informants?
Yeah, I want to ask the bartender specifically because, you know, we paid him handsomely. We enjoyed his
Sure.
curry. We've been courteous and receptive to courtesy. That I'm looking for an informant for a job. And this is the
Sure.
place. There you go. And Lucina beckoned one over with tea.
Excellent. So yeah, I think the bartender was receptive to helping you, and somewhere amongst all of these, I'm literally thinking of like, you've got this kind of like a hard looking like dwarf who's got like his head shaved into like a mohawk, who is sitting at the table with you, who like the bartender probably recommended, and then I am literally thinking of Endeavor's butler.
Yes. Perfect.
Perfect, man.
Like, both of them are just sitting at the table with you, and you've been having like a fairly edifying conversation in the meantime. You wanted to know about the Van Thamper Villa, and you wanted to know about cult hidey holes and the like
Mhm.
around town. You're trying to find underworld information that might be useful.
Yeah, so I'm basically using my feature to attract these seedy people, because if we're going to attack the Van Thamper estate, I need information or men or both. So I'm trying to find out about what the layout is like, what kind of security they've got, you know, what are their routines, their habits, have they been seen going anywhere crazy, you know, stuff like that.
Yeah, so I think you've got like the dwarf is kind of like, he's sitting there, he's got his drink in front of him, and he's just like, so I'll tell you this to start with. Van Thamper's got arrangements with the guilds, Nine Fingers Keen specifically, which again, like I think I've mentioned them before in the past, and Baugh, if he was there, would recognize that like Nine Fingers Keen is like the guy that all of the various like thieves guild outfits in the city answer to. Like, they're the top like thieves guild leader.
Like the shadow hand of the fucking Thieves Guilds, like he's the
Yeah.
fucking man that runs all for behind the scenes. Or
Yeah,
whatever.
exactly. And yeah, he's like, they got arrangements beyond what normal nobles have. The kind where Keen tells us all that we have to steer clear of their estate. We don't touch their things. We don't interfere with their runners. We don't plan jobs against their house. So you didn't hear any of this from me. We understand?
Any of what? We haven't said a word.
Yeah, and he gives you this big, like, toothy grin, and he's just like, right then. And he's got, like, I think he's just got, like, just napkins and, like forks and just different, like, bits of like, tableware that he's, like, kind of, like, moving around on the surface of the table while you guys are drinking your tea and eating. And he kind of, like, lays out this diagram of this kind of, like, square, like, estate like ground, and then he like puts like you know, so it's like a large like square shaped like estate, right? And then I'm like changing to a different screen so I can actually like see how the fucking place is laid out. It's like square-ish. There's a few places in the outer wall where it like takes a jog here or there, and then in one corner he sets down like an upside down teacup, and then like in the middle he puts like a dinner plate, right? And he's like, so this over here, and he points to the teacup, is the stable house. It's abutted right up against the wall. Actually, kind of. And he moves the teacup a little bit, and he's like, it actually extends outside the walls a little bit, so that would be a weakness in the security, I think. Don't know what they keep in there, because we're not allowed to have horses inside the city walls, but clearly they use it for something. And then he like kind of indicates, and he's like, there's a northern gate here, and there's 2 gates on the south wall. This one is, again, it's carriage sized. Not sure what that's for. Main gate's over here. And then he points at the dinner plate in the center. He's like, this here be the main building. It's 2 stories with a tower in one corner. And he kind of like puts a like salt and pepper shaker on like the corner of the building that indicates where the tower should be, which I believe is the southeast corner of the building. It's like balcony here overlooks the front gates to the estate. Not sure what they have in the ways of patrols on the inside because we're not allowed to look.
What about a rough estimate of their numbers?
I mean, they're big fancy folk, right? She's an archduke, one of the high-ranking ones, so I can't imagine they have a lack of on-site security, you know?
Of course.
Unfortunately, I don't have good numbers on this, but I would imagine they probably have at least a dozen. And like that tracks with like the amount of people you've seen Duke Portier have around his house, right?
And the son's name that we're looking for, what is his name?
Thirstwell? Well, I mean, which one, right?
VT.
Like,
because there's a mom and a son who are VT. We've killed Thirstwell.
No, you killed... Mortlock is dead.
Oh, Mortlock.
Mortlock's the one that's
TV.
dead. Yeah,
Yeah.
TV. Like, there's Thirstwell Van Thamper and Amric Van Thamper are the other 2 still living sons.
Yeah,
Thirstwell
Thirstwell, I think, is the one we're looking for, right?
I mean, you. So if we cut back to you doing Speak with Dead over Mortlock's corpse, right?
Mhm.
Like, Mortlock basically told you, without telling you, that Amric is the Harlequin, and he
Mhm.
hangs out at the Low Lantern, but
Okay.
since you've been made, he probably won't be there anymore, right? Because the cult is obviously clearly aware of you and that you are looking for them.
Mhm.
And then he told you that Thirstwell generally stays at the house.
Mhm. That's who I'd be looking for then, is Amric, because we want to find the Harlequin.
Yeah, and Thirstwell had some kind of like infernal artifact that like his job is to research it.
Mhm. Yeah, so I'd ask about sightings of Amric. He used to stay at the tavern. Lately, I've heard he's moved on. Where is it that he's moved on to?
Yeah, I think it's the other guy then with the mustache that looks like Endeavor's bodyguard from My Hero
Nice.
Academia, who's just like, well, I can't say as I knew it was Amric necessarily, because there's this foppish fellow who'd been coming and going from the Low Lantern, who'd been wearing a full jester's motley, if you can believe it, mask and all. And he was, I don't know, doing a brisk business in immigration papers with all of these poor unfortunate souls that have been flooding into the city. And, yeah, I think we'd all figured out who it was because he was bringing some of his family bodyguards with him without disguising them in the same way he was disguising himself. good at theatrics, bad at planning. Either way, we haven't seen him about in a few days, so presume he's probably gone back home where he can hide behind his mummy's skirts.
Lucina, any questions for the gentleman?
Would you like some more tea, sir?
Yes, tea would be lovely.
Other than that, I think I'm good on questions.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
and then,
so really, Amaric has probably gone home, but his cult is probably still in the place where we heard he was.
it's possible that he has left like operatives at the Low Lantern just to keep an eye out, right?
Mhm.
Because like they know you are looking for them,
Hmm.
so it would make sense for them to leave someone in the places they normally inhabit, just to
Hmm.
like if you happen to show up, right? They can
Yeah.
warn their employers. I think the other thing that you can learn too is just generally speaking, like the manor that the Van Thampers live in is like a stately stone building. The buildings have sloped roofs covered in red clay tiles. There is a 12-foot high stone wall that encloses the villa, which he indicated. The wall is hung with lanterns that are always lit at dusk and extinguished at dawn to make sure that the yard is well illuminated, as well as the areas outside the walls to keep people from like approaching the building without, like they specifically are trying to keep people from having like an easily like shadowed access to the building, right? And then I think he can also tell you that given, well, like there are rumors that like no one is allowed to move around in the sewers under the house,
Hmm.
like anywhere within a block of the house. And given Thalamra's like position as like the head of the guild of like sewerers and cisterns, like that kind of makes sense, right? Like she would have the ability to like make those kinds of calls. So like that's a little suspicious. But in general, like anybody that's on good terms with the guild just like follows the advice and doesn't like go after the house. So they don't have any more specific information about like what's inside, and anybody that's approached the house from underground has never come back.
Okay. That's cool. I will dismiss my aura then and thank them for their time and pay them.
Yeah.
And I will say to Rhea, I hope you are paying attention because that is how you fish.
Right. Both like Little Rat Bro and Rhea both have like notepads out and have been like frantically scribbling things
good.
down the whole time.
Oh, good.
Rhea's actually been taking good notes. Little Rat Bro like has written down like fish exclamation point. Yeah, and she's just like, well, it certainly sounds like it's going to be a tough nut to crack if the family is aware that we're coming for them and they have a well-guarded compound.
I believe we can take care of that.
You want to let me in on the secret, maybe?
I know it doesn't seem like it all the time, but I do have quite a predilection. People want to help me.
Fair enough.
Yeah, for those of you who don't know, Vert has a special ability. People want, commoners at least, want to help him and will go out of their way to help him if he asks them.
Holy shit. It's amazing.
It's a very
You really
funny.
should have used that
Sounds like
sooner.
mind control to me.
Huh?
Sounds like mind control to me.
Kinda.
It's kind of a folk hero, like Monster Hunter kind of situation where it's like, it really breaks down to like, as long as he can prove to the people that like what he is doing is in their best interest, he can get a mob of people with pitchforks together to help him.
Yeah.
Quality, man.
Um,
How would
Oh, yeah.
what would I have done to use it earlier? It wasn't in my favor.
We were going around questioning people, trying to find the fucking Rat King for you. But
Oh, I
no,
knew
you were just sitting on a rooftop watching us.
I already knew where he was.
Oh my goodness. I love the amount of shade. Anyway, cutting back to Ribbons' secret cult lair room with its like there's a small collection of like books, like I said, and scrolls on one side of the room, and then there's a chest on the other side of the room. And
Grab your hands is at it again.
going for the chest.
I will check for traps in my limited capacity.
Yeah, give me a perception check.
Oh, there's there. I was due one.
Yeah, I think given the state of the room itself being a giant burn box, like
Yeah,
the chest is just locked, it's not trapped.
good. It's great. So we'll try to unlock it.
Yeah, you click the lock open fairly easily. I made notes for this. Where did I put them?
But like the scroll cases and stuff, was it actual like spell scrolls in it, or was it just messages and stuff?
Unclear. You have not gone through
Unclear.
it yet.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, in the chest on the west wall of the room, there like you open it up and there is just like a bunch of just like stuff in this box, right? That's just been like tossed in here. There's like trays that like there's like stacking trays that are like filled with coins. There's like a velvet bag that appears to be full of like clacky rocks, and when you open it up, it's actually full of like gemstones.
Cool.
There is there's a few like art objects in the room, or in the chest, and then there's like a couple of like bottles and a strange object. So to begin with, I will just go ahead and say, get the loot channel here. We've got 1,800 copper pieces, 700 silver pieces, and 50 gold pieces in coins.
God fucking damn it, Amaya, I just saw that.
Yeah.
Isn't it great?
There is the bag of gems contains a bloodstone, a carnelian, chalcedony.
The fuck is a chalcedony?
It's an opaque white gemstone.
The cardstone.
So quartz.
Kind of. Look, man. It actually looks like it looks like that.
Oh, okay. So jizzstone.
Sure, I guess. Let's see here. 2 moonstones. A quartz. Which is a different thing. A star rose quartz. And 2 zircons. Each worth 50 gold pieces. And then there is a black velvet mask stitched with silver thread, which is 25 gold pieces. a small mirror set in a painted wooden frame worth 25 gold pieces. And then there is a carved dragon bone statuette, which is worth
Dragons, man.
50 gold pieces. And then there is a potion of healing, another potion which I do not believe you have seen before. So let me find the description. A potion bottle filled with a syrupy liquid that looks like liquefied iron.
Stone skin potion?
I don't know. I'll drink it and let you know.
Oh my god.
I tried to identify that potion.
I won't actually drink it.
Yeah, you can give me an Arcana check.
It's a pretty potion.
You're sure you are definitely certain it is a potion. You are not entirely sure.
Oh, yeah, I agree. It does look very pretty.
I'm just picturing you both going, wow, it really is pretty.
My Arcana's no better.
Yeah, no, look at it, it's swirling.
Hold on. Wait a minute. I got this.
Please. Please.
The meme will hold true. Nope.
Wait, Beautiful luck. Zero.
Oh, okay. Memes.
You're sure?
Better.
You are
To be-
sure? You are sure that it is magic?
Oh my god, wait.
To be fair, I did have the highest roll still,
Is it
which is
some
normally
kind of
how it goes when everyone fails an Arcana check.
magic?
You are sure
Yes,
that it
it
is
is.
magic.
So you're saying it's some kind of magic?
And then the
yes.
final object an object which appears to be a wooden box that measures 12 inches long, 6 inches wide,
Loot.
6 inches deep,
Loot.
And is traveling at 37 miles per hour from Chicago. How long will it take the box to intersect the other box traveling from New York with the dimensions of roughly 4 feet by 4 feet by 4 feet?
No, go away, Mas.
How many potatoes did John buy?
How many candy bars? He has 400 candy bars. He gives away 3. What does he have?
It
Fucking
weighs-
diabetes.
It weighs 4 pounds, can be opened to store items inside, and features depictions of ships at sea on its outside surface.
Sounds like a Siani box. Because, you know, travel.
Yeah, argument here. Unless it holds some kind of alcoholic liquids, then I'll fight for it.
There is currently, like, nothing inside.
Is there
Yeah.
nothing inside, or is there nothing inside?
The box is empty.
Uh-huh. Is it empty, or is it empty?
So you're saying it's empty?
I don't know. Would you like to make an Arcana check to determine the emptiness of the
Oh,
box?
God.
I'd love to make an Arcana check to.
What I was getting at is, does it have, like, a false bottom or something? Because, you know...
Yep, it appears to be a box.
It is most
It
definitely a box.
It does not appear to have a false bottom.
At least I'm consistent.
Yeah, I was gonna say like double tens.
I mean, we're all consistently bad.
I love
Yes.
this mini grip. It's great. Like,
This box appears to be made
So
of
Ray,
wood.
you rolled high enough looking at it, right?
Mhm.
You can guess the rough properties of the item and may attempt to use it. Though you may not necessarily be able to work out the command word if it has one. More likely the character knows what will happen when a command word is uttered, but will need more time to correctly guess the command word, which is specifically the situation you find yourself in. This appears to be a folding boat.
Oh.
Oh.
I thought it was gonna be a box of dicks.
So, when the command word is spoken, you are relatively certain that the box will unfold into a boat roughly 10 feet long, 4 feet wide, and 2 feet deep. The boat also includes a pair of oars, an anchor, a mast, and a lateen sail. The boat can hold up to 4 medium creatures comfortably or 5 uncomfortably.
Oars, a wanker, and a latom sail.
Let's see here.
And the command
A
word is
second
make boat
command
face.
word can cause the box to unfold into a ship, 24 feet long, 8 feet wide, and 6 feet deep. The deck of the ship has a deck, rowing seats, 5 sets of oars, a steering rudder, an anchor, a deck cabin, and a mast with a square sail. This ship can hold 15 medium creatures comfortably.
Holy shit!
Wow.
Grabby hands.
What?
Holy fuck.
I mean,
That
yeah,
is
like,
cool.
Yeah, I'm gonna take the box.
yeah, take it.
So yeah, you more or less like party treasure, right? Because like no one individual needs
Yeah,
a
yeah.
boat necessarily, but now
Hi,
you have a box
have
full
you
of.
met the nobles of Baldur's Gate?
Actually, to be fair, that would make it perfect for Bo because he got to get out of here.
But yes,
Uh,
now you have
Because
yourself.
go, "Huh."
You have a currently unidentified weird potion, and a box full of boat that you are not exactly sure how to activate.
Boaty McBookface. Like, I'm calling it right now.
Which is to say, like, over the duration of like a long rest or whatever, you could basically just like shout command words at it until it activates
Or I could
To
ask
figure-
Nefarious.
to figure it out. Yeah, or that.
Obviously, it'll
But
cost
yeah.
something, but it is an option.
But yeah, so that is what you find there. Now, if you examine the collection of like tomes and scrolls and whatnot on the other side of the room, you find that basically everything is written in Infernal.
Oh boy.
I take it all and put it in a bag and then take it to like Vert and Lucina. Because they're the only ones of us that can read Inferno.
Yep.
Yeah. So, I think at this point, then we get the obvious, like, you guys are coming out of the back about the time Vert and Lucina and Rhea are finishing conversing with those, like, rough-looking thugs that they recruited to question them about the Van Thamper Manor. And you've got the stuff that you've liberated from Ribbons' room.
Liberated.
I mean, call it what you will.
Compensated.
And as you're kind of like walking out, the bartender kind of like glances over at the group of you and is just like, well, I didn't hear any explosions, so I guess you got what you were looking for.
More or less.
I give a nod and a smile and say, absolutely, sir. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Yeah, and he nods to you and then kind of like nods to your friends sitting at a table like out in the kind of like floating like eating area of his bar and motions to them and is like, it looks like your friends found what they were looking for too. And you see it as like a couple of like thugs get up and like wander away from the table and Vert's just sitting there eating his jerked beef.
How was your fishing lesson?
Better than the drink that I got at the bar. But yeah, found these notes and like scrolls and stuff you guys might be interested in.
Interesting. What the fuck? Hold on.
What the fuck? Our Leshen seems to have become distracted.
I know, but that was
There's a shit goblin wandering around my house, and I think she
Oh.
just came in here and like fucked around in the bathroom or something like that.
I literally just let them inside.
Oh, okay.
So I guess we just like go back and
Yeah.
divvy
I mean,
up the
here's the
and
thing: are
shit.
you guys gonna go through the papers here, or are you gonna just like?
Well, probably
fuck
not
off.
here, I guess, unless
Yeah.
I was just more or less just trying to figure out like what's the plan here.
Well,
People.
I'll give him the information we learned about the estate and how. I've already forgotten his name. Artemis?
Amric.
Amric. Oh, of course. I should remember his name. It should be terrifying for me. It should bring horrible, horrible memories for me.
Why?
No
Story
reason. Huh? You don't. Amric. From 14.
Oh, right.
Oh, right.
My sweet, sweet boy.
Right.
Oh. That was my time with blank screen story.
Mm. But I'll tell them what we learned about the estate. How
Yep.
there's a stable on the northeast side that we can probably gain access to with sufficient distraction at the north or the south gate. And that Amaric has probably left his hidey hole and gone home to mommy.
Yeah.
But that means we can easily raid that place and maybe find more information.
Yeah, like that's the other thing I feel like I should make abundantly clear
So it
now
sounds like
that
we're
I'm
all,
thinking
gripped
about
up
it.
and shit.
Like Thalamra is scary, right? Like the more you talk to people about her, the more it becomes clear that Thalamra Van Thamper has a reputation that she should
That
not
woman
be
ain't right.
fucked with. like people are concerned about having to deal with her. People don't like thinking about her, and when they kind of joked about Amric going home to hide behind his mother's skirts, but there was also a level to which he was expressing that thought as that is the smartest move that boy can make if he is in trouble, because his mother will destroy anything that gets in her way. So
Sounds like we're in for a good time in the next day or two. Fuck.
take that for what you will.
Mm-hmm.
So
So
do we want to get the fuck out of these understairs and shit? Maybe like
I'm guessing that's the first order of affairs.
that's the plan.
yeah, what is the plan, gentle people? You heading back to the
Yeah,
bar?
what is the plan?
Let's do it. Let's fucking go for it, man.
Let's go.
We've been building this
Yeah.
up for a while now.
Yeah.
It's like we've gone
This
everywhere
was
we
the
can.
last stop.
We've had a lot of things. We've not had any big encounters on the way here. This is definitely the last stop. It's time to fucking do it up, because we know that she's the villain. So we'll make a note to probably call the town guards and say if you don't hear from us by tomorrow, then
Yeah.
assume we're dead and they're the culprit.
I thought the plan was like for you to just be true to your calling and start a riot. You know.
Is that the plan?
Get Vert to start a riot? I don't know.
Oh.
Maybe this time it can be Vert that starts the riot. Get a bunch of refugees with pitchforks and torches.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Cue music.
Yeah.
Is the name of the song? Is that the name of the song, Hun? Is it just "Let's Start a Riot"?
Just riot.
Oh, just riot. Okay.
I predict a riot. I predict a riot.
I prefer smash it up.
Or burn it down.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
There you go.
Burn it.
Or
So,
start
are we all kind of agreed then that we should just skip the cultist hidey hole and go straight to the Van Thampers?
If there's not going to be
Sounds like
anyone
a-
there,
Skip Soar or disband.
I was gonna say, like the real joke here is if you don't go to the Low Lantern, then I don't have to come up with a pirate NPC.
Oh well,
Pirate
you just
NPC
stuck your
guys.
foot in it there, like.
Yep.
So I don't know, man. I've had second thoughts about this hideout in the dark.
The thing is, it's not really a hideout either. Like the Low Lantern's just like a bar. Like
Yes, but
But pirates,
pirate
though.
NPC.
pirate NPCs. Octopuses playing accordions.
What do you think the odds are we can get the pirate NPC to join us instead?
Well, if you fucking work your mojo and
I
really
mean,
back
all you
it
have
up
to
by
say is
writing
the
it up
word
pretty sorted.
riot against the nobles, and the pirate's gonna be like, "Alert! Alert! Let's go! Alert!
Seize the means of production, like communist
Jesus
pirates.
Christ.
Communist pirates! Fuck off!"
Communist donkey.
I don't know why this made me think of it, but I learned this week that samurais, the fax machine, and Abraham Lincoln all existed in the same time period. There was a 20-year span of time when a samurai could have sent a fax to Abraham Lincoln.
That
That's
seems
pretty
unlikely.
That seems
No,
very
it's
unlikely.
No, it's legit
It's
though.
it's absolutely true. They all existed in the same
I saw a
in
meme
the same
about that
20
on Reddit recently.
Yeah,
Because fucking like Japan was so far behind in technology, and they like jumped forward a couple of centuries as soon as like they came into contact with other people and shit.
yeah, but like from like 1820 to 1840 or something like that, a samurai could have sent a fax to Abraham Lincoln.
I imagine it's got to be like some like precursor technology to the fax machine, right? Not like not like a modern fax machine.
No, not a modern fax machine with like phone network cables, but like an actual fax machine where you could like
somebody wrote up a fax and then sent it in the mail or some shit.
no, like an actual like
Oh,
radio
the
transmitted.
electric printing telegraph.
Yeah.
Okay.
Ah.
Which was apparently invented in 1843.
Yeah, so from 1843 to like 1863, samurais could have sent faxes to Abraham Lincoln.
Okay, that's wild.
Yeah.
I'm somewhat impressed. You also have all this like these notes and like journals and stuff from or like little books from like ribbons too that are all written in Infernal. If you wanted to go
Mhm.
over that stuff before you go wandering off.
Probably a good idea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's all go back to the Winchester, have a pint, and look this
Wait
up.
for this all to blow over.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean we can pretty easily like cut back to like the three old kegs because that's kind of like the halfway point between where you are and where you need to be going, right? So like
Yeah, and they love us there.
yeah, I mean they've been more appreciative of you than other people, certainly. You didn't get in trouble for like filling the building with rats yet.
Yet. Thank you.
Leave it
But-
party. It's fine.
I think we get you guys like back into like your private rooms upstairs or whatever, and you're kind of pouring through all of this, and like several of the like the scrolls like basically contain it's like there's a list of like people that like Ribbons has killed, and like the reasons given for why they were killed, right? You get kind of just like a laundry list of like assassinated this person because of X reason, right? Like for whatever reason they kept a running like tally of their past actions, again in this little like burn vault where in case someone came in that wasn't supposed to, it likely would have been destroyed. So perhaps they felt safe keeping this little monument to their own overconfidence.
Yeah, as all good serial killers do.
You know, but I don't know, maybe I don't know how interested you are in like religion and religious history and creation stories, Lucina, but one of the books is there is this specific like devotional, right, which is another one of these books similar to like the other tomes that you have found on various ranking members of the Zariel cult, right? Like it's written in Infernal. It has like little prayers for guidance in battle and supplications to like their lord, their Archduchess of Avernus, to provide them with the strength of will to follow through with what must be done, regardless of how hard or how distasteful it is, right? Like
The force of will to not have all their blood punched out.
you could only hope. But it definitely like paints a picture of like Ribbons's relationship to Zariel as like an object of worship, as like she sees Zariel or saw Zariel as a representation of like having to do something that you know you need to do, whether you want to or not, and whether you think it is right or not, right? Like it is the give me the strength to do what must be done even though I don't wanna kind of thing. But also contained in this book there are little excerpts of something that is referred to in the tome as the Averniad, which is this story that, like, how do I put this? It represents Avernus, which you would know by this point is like the plane that Zariel rules, as having not always been part of hell, right? Like a long time ago, Avernus was known by a different name, and it was this kind of like beatific, like perfect paradise realm that was just forming freshly in the cosmos, and it was not aligned to any particular axis of the cosmos. It was neither lawful nor chaotic. It was neither good nor evil.
So what you're saying is it was just true neutral.
Yeah, and it just simply was. And like the forces of law and chaos and good and evil all fought over this idyllic place, wanting to claim it for their own, to use it to shift the balance in the cosmos one way or the other, and kind of push the great wheel in a specific direction that would unbalance this kind of like forever like war that exists in the background of the kind of cosmic level of the setting. And something strange happened in that like Asmodeus, who at the time, according to this story, was an angel, like went to this place and conquered it, and then defected from heaven and created the hells as we understand them, and became the Lord of Devils in so doing. And like he was like Zariel's commander at the time when this happened.
Sorry.
And there
Yes,
is
Yes, but did he have a flag?
But did he have a flag? Clearly.
No flag, no country. That's the rules I just made up right now.
I've seen that sketch.
I love that.
But like it kind of hops around a little bit. The details are fuzzy and they're unclear, but it talks about this like there was a trial basically. like Asmodeus like defied heaven. He betrayed like the forces of good. He created his own kingdom and like made Avernus part of the Hells and became like the lord of what we would eventually come to know as devils. And like in the process, like heaven captured him and brought him back to Mount Celestia and put him on trial for his crimes. And Asmodeus like made this ploy where he said he would submit to being put on trial so long as Primus, the god of like perfect order, would be the judge. And according to the story, he made this gambit because after the angels had had all of the time to vent about all of the things that he had done that were wrong because they did not perceive them as good, he then proceeded to speak to Primus directly and tell him how everything he had done, whether it was good or evil, was lawful and correct.
Oh, I know that. That's the Pact Primeval.
Yes. It is basically a retelling of the foundation of the Pact Primeval and how Asmodeus was like let off the hook for defying heaven. And the end of the story, according to what you are reading in this tome that Ribbons used as devotional, is basically the moral of the story is this is the day that Zariel learned that doing what must be done is more important than doing what is right.
This is a valid origin story.
You know, and it fills in like it basically like explains in its way why like some people would worship Zariel and would be willing to do these like horrible, like to good people what would seem like horrible, abhorrent things, right? Not because they're good, not because they're evil, but because they are necessary.
Fucking cult. Maximus.
And that is the kind of people that you're dealing with.
Yeah, the Pact Primeval is actually, if you guys ever get a chance to read it, it's legitimately fascinating.
Yeah.
It's like one of the coolest pieces of literature in D&D.
It does sound pretty fucking...
Yeah, basically, if I was gonna Reader's Digest version it, the gods wanted a way for them to exert their power, right? And so Asmodeus says, listen, give me the ability to contract people into your service and I'll do all the work for you. And they said, sure. And so he basically went and dirtied his hands with stuff the gods couldn't do. And so he's like, give me my own place so that I don't dirty up your floor. And they're like, sure, no problem. And he basically just took them for all their worth because now he had his own place and his own contracts.
Yeah.
And so he could just take as many people as he wanted.
So he like middleman the gods and then just muscled them
Yeah,
out.
he literally lawyered the fuck out of the gods.
Yeah, it's like basically in this more specific version of the story that's being told in this book. It's like he betrayed heaven. He builds hell, right? He builds this whole system. Yeah. And then they send like an angelic strike team and they like kidnap him and they put him on trial. And they spend all this time like appealing to Primus on like this is like good and what is right and what is noble, and here is how he has like committed all of these crimes. And then Asmodeus steps up and he's like, you know, I took this land by force and I have made it mine. Is it not my kingdom? And Primus is like, yes, it is your kingdom. So he's like, they came and they stole me from my kingdom. So they have broken the law.
This was Avernus. I don't hear no bell.
Right? Like, and then like he's like, and is not like winning the war against chaos more important than anything else? And because Primus is like a perfectly lawful being, Primus agrees. And he's like, do we not lack for forces to prosecute this war? And Primus agrees. And he's like, so give me the ability to tempt mortals. And if they are incapable of weathering
the
that
temptation.
temptation, their souls become mine. I will make them into soldiers, and I will fight the war that needs to be fought so that chaos does not overthrow order. And Primus was like, yeah, sure, here. And like gave Asmodeus the power to do that, which is this thing called like the Ruby Rod of Asmodeus, which is like the thing that binds him to the contract, but also gives him the ability to
power.
enforce contracts on other people.
Fucking hell, that's wild.
Yeah, he basically rules lawyered himself into becoming like the devil.
Oh, guys, if it's all based on temptation, Bo's fucked, man. He's gonna be fighting the forces.
Yeah, and heaven has
long.
and heaven has been mad as fuck at him ever since.
Yeah, here it is. So the way I'm reading it, Asmodeus basically dangled the proposition in front of them that the gods had followers, right? And the followers had free will, but there was no punishment for disobeying the god's will. So Asmodeus is like, hey, there can be no law without punishment. Let me be the person who makes the punishments.
Yeah, and be the bad guy and you get all the perks, and I'll take all this shit for it.
Yeah, but then through clever lawyering, he not just punished people, but like actively forced people to commit wrongdoings in order to be punished. Oh, so great! You guys really should read the Pact Primeval.
Like fucking chef's kiss.
Yeah, and like there is an indication throughout the text of this story as well that like at the time Zariel was still an angel, Asmodeus like started out as an angel who was her commander. She testified against him at the trial, and like he still won. He still got his way, and so like it like that was the first moment in like the long history of like Zariel like going to the place where she becomes what she ultimately is, like where she realized that like the law and doing what needs to be done is more important than simply just being good.
Yeah. That's fucking wild.
And like this book that you have from Ribbons frames this as like a noble thing, whereas other people, like, you know, me editorializing as the game master included, might say that that is the first beginning of a slippery slope into a very bad place.
Like, this is like the fucking pamphlet they give you, like here, like this is our way and why you should like do what we do. Come on.
Yeah, I put a nice little summarization wiki of the Pact Primeval in the chat. You guys should definitely read it when you get the chance, because it's basically just Asmodeus lawyering the fuck out of all the gods all the time.
It's pretty great. But yeah, so that's a little bit more like background as to like why the cult does the things that it does, or at least how it sees itself, right? And like there's an extent to which like it's questionable whether or not the text of the story is true, or if it's just like from your perspective as characters in the world, there's a question as to whether or not the story is true, or if it's just like a moral play or whatever. But like it's at least like a useful point of comparison for like why these people do what they do.
Yeah, so they're not all bad. Like some of these people are just like fucking took in by this shit, and
yeah, I mean, like they definitely think that their motivations are right, whether or not their actions are good.
I mean, we've came across most of them have just been like fucking blacksmiths or like fucking old ladies.
Yeah,
and
just
shit.
general Tom, Dick, and Harry's.
Yeah, so it's a useful bit of information before you go fuck them up at their house and let the gods of good sort it out, as it were. But yeah, that aside, I think we have reached basically the normal like quit point for the day.
Sounds good.
We've now like wiped everything else off the board except the Van Thamper Manor itself, which we can talk about storming next week.
And the pirate at the docks.
No pirate at the docks.
Pirate at the docks.
Pirate at the docks.
Pirate at the docks.
Ah!
you said it at the start, man, and you still done it. Like
Yeah.
I did it to myself. I always do
better.
it to myself. Well, fine. I'll look at the pirate at the docks for next week then. You
And the
really
zoo,
want?
because some new forms might be useful.
True.
That's fair.
It's not a vacation if it's for work.
It's not a vacation if it's for work. Yeah, I'll give you the week to think about what your plans are. Obviously no XP for fights or what have you this week, but you definitely got yourself a little bit more treasure, and I know like Ray and Siani like angled really hard for their piety. Bo, you know what? Here's the funny thing. Bo Sing Ba, you actually like get a piety for like helping somebody else by using your thing to allow them to re-roll like a natural one.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, nice.
But you know who re-rolled that natural one?
Ashaba.
It was Vert.
Okay.
Speaking
You
of a
def-
natural one, nothing happened.
Right,
I
because
used my
Because it was
inspiration.
rolled.
Yeah.
Mm.
because
Mm.
because it was re-rolled, and you defied the will of your dark lady, Vert.
What?
Yeah. She doesn't like it when you use your luck to escape misfortune.
Even though I used my own inspiration?
I'm not going to take a point away from you. I'm just not going to give you a point this week.
Okay. So if I roll a 1, I basically have to take it or risk her wrath.
I'm just going to say, like, if you don't do anything else during the week, because you didn't, unfortunately, we didn't have enough scenes for you to really do a lot else, and like the one chance we had for you to like continue demonstrating your devotion, you sidestepped around, so you just don't have the opportunity to gain anything. But I will say, if at any point you roll a 1 and you let Shanks use Tybora's power to let you re-roll that die, you are absolutely going to lose a point.
Oh my
Oh
god.
boy. Me and Vert are sitting at like opposite ends of the battlefield from now on, like fuck.
Oof.
I'll not do that to you then. That's fine.
Oof.
Yeah.
But it's okay if I use my inspiration, right?
Yes. I mean,
Okay.
here's the thing. Like, I'm not going to take a point from you this week because we are establishing the ground rules here.
Okay.
But like,
That's fair.
there is definitely an extent to which, like, somewhere in the back of your mind, like, you sidestepped something that your goddess decreed should go poorly. And
Like I started making a chisel stroke and then I was like, nah, I should do this instead.
Yeah, and she is not entirely pleased.
Oh no.
Shall we say?
But just to make sure I understand, if I use my inspiration, I'm not at risk of anything. It's just if Bo uses his thing on me.
Yeah, I mean it will. But here's the thing: if you keep doing it, right? Like if you keep sidestepping, like
natural
bad
ones specifically.
Yes. Like if you keep sidestepping your own natural ones so that bad things don't ever happen to you, eventually you will lose piety because she will eventually become mad at you.
Oh boy.
Right. I read it wrong the first time. I thought it was like I can use my reaction to make them, but it's to let them, so they can obviously reject it if they want.
You don't have to force. You don't force them.
I can't force them. I can offer it to them. Like and just
you
give up my
offer
reaction.
anyone with your reaction the possibility of re-rolling a 1, as long as they're within 30 feet of you.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I'm pointing out that like Bashaba is like the god of bad luck, right? And like misfortune and like persevering through misfortune. So like if you are consistently refusing the misfortune, that power that she has granted you to make ones become worse than they are, but only when it affects you.
It's fair. It's fair.
Eventually she's going to judge you.
No me golpa! No me golpa! Which
I
is,
just-
please don't beat me in Spanish.
I just want to make sure the ground rules are clear.
I guess that's fair. I guess I can't really argue with that logic.
Yeah. Similarly, like if Ray over here decided to change his mind and just started like beating orphans whenever he found them, like his deity would probably have something to say about that.
Yeah, use a club, it's easier.
Oh, damn!
Use a nickel. Use a sock full of nickels so it won't leave bruises.
Socks or oranges if you're wanting
Sock
more.
full
Yeah,
of
sock
butter?
full of oranges. Yeah.
Sock full of
Just-
butter.
Yep.
Just like Granda used to do.
Well, this just got real dark.
Yep.
But
All
yes,
right.
next time, perhaps we lay siege to a house, or I have to ruin my voice doing a pirate accent. I don't know.
Siege first, pirates after. Pirate after party.
You
Pirate
went over
after party.
Viert's priority. Do we, me and Visa both get one? Or do we-
Yeah. One for each of you, and then really, yeah. It seems like Vert doesn't get one. Like nobody died. Like and Lucina didn't really do a lot of like Kellamvery stuff this week, and then like.
So, what I'm
There's,
getting from this is I need to make sure to kill somebody every week so I can do
Yes.
funeral rites.
I'm trying to think. Like, what else do you
Wait,
get?
shit.
Like, what are your other dedications? I don't remember.
Hold on.
Does she not get in for the bit where we were down there and she like helped the priest take the dirt out of his fucking bowl and stuff?
Let's see. Destroying an undead creature, staying with a dying creature while they pass, or observing funeral rites for
Yeah.
people.
I mean, Vert probably felt like he was dying. I'm trying to think if there's anything else, because like Kellamore is one of those where it's like very specific, right?
I'll just start killing people every week. I'll be Baldur's Gate serial killer.
You know what usually you guys kill kill something every week, so it doesn't matter. It just happened to
Yeah.
be this week.
We
did.
have the perfect alibi. Every time we kill somebody, just go, cult business again. They just keep popping up.
What are
Like,
his
fuck.
other domains? Lord of the Dead, Judge of the Damned, Master of the Crystal Spire, The Great Guide.
She keeps
Listen.
guiding Rhea every week. Like,
Listen, but did she earn any Bashaba piety?
I don't think that she did.
No.
I didn't get to use unluck on you, but I have it prepared. I'm
Nice.
saving that one.
And start
What's up?
developing that Bashaba.
We're gonna
Black
turn you into a
Katniss.
Beshopite.
You and Ratboy.
I'm gonna get you. I'm gonna turn you into a Beshopite.
I'm gonna fucking do it.
Listen, her and Kellamvor aren't directly opposed. It's fine. It's fine.
Be like casual prayers. It's fine.
Yeah. I mean, you're not praying to Bashaba. She just really likes you.
Which is a bad thing, but
Listen.
also a good thing, kind of.
Listen, you're not disobeying your god. You've just got a divine stalker.
Something like that,
God.
yeah. Oh, hang on. The death clergy, as they were known, have many duties. Most involve tending to the last wishes of the dying and providing burial services for those who died alone. They also set out, however, to cure diseases and defend people from monsters so that folk did not die before it was their time. And then also they are like all in on the undead slaying. So like, I mean, realistically,
To be fair. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
I was gonna say, like, if you had been the one, like, again, this is one of those, like, if you had been the one to use Lesser Restoration to remove Vert's disease, that might have been, like, specifically, like, an act of piety for you, right, Hillary? But because you didn't have the spell prepared, and you put it towards, like, you had Rhea do it, like, I'm sure Kellamvor probably looks kindly on that, but I don't know that that's necessarily something that he would, like,
Just Lucina's
award
well
you
working through
for.
Rhea. Lucina's
Fine,
well
I'm not
working
worried about
through
it.
Rhea.
Sure. No, I'm just like I don't want it to seem like the only way you can like get any kind of benefit is by just like doing funerary rites, because especially like after y'all get to hell, that's going to become like a more difficult proposition for you.
But I'm
So,
sure there'll be
yes.
plenty of undead to deal with.
Yeah. I was going to say like
That's fair. Hell has other problems. So yeah, I think that's a good leaving off point. And who was I cutting off? I'm sorry.
Oh no one.